Hey everybody, welcome back to Aliens versus Predator versus Engineers AvPvE. This is session 19, the grand finale of my homebrew campaign that I made for Free League's wonderful Alien RPG, completely non-canon because there's no predators in the RPG, but in mine there are. This is the grand finale. This is the final game. This is the one that is going to dictate how all the chips fall and if our players can survive it. Really been building up to it, looking forward to it. There's a lot of this content already on the channel. Please like and subscribe. Go back through, find the other content if you haven't seen it already, and comment. Love to hear your comments. Not saying we're done with aliens. We're going to be doing more alien content in the future. We're just not sure what or when. And we've got Blade Runner coming next week, and some more Conan stuff coming. And this scenario, along with all my other alien content, can be found on my website in the comments below. If you want to download it and play it yourself, it is obviously free. And please, while you're there, stick around and poke around a little bit. I am an author of fantasy novels as well as a horror anthology collection. You might just find something you like, and your support means a lot. Anyway, here we are, on to the game.
That little self-mute thing. So I just always, self-mute myself so you guys don't have to hear any of that crap.
My headset has a cough button on it,
Oh, that's nice.
so I can just hold this and push the button.
That's nice.
Of course, when I do that, you guys don't know I'm muted because it doesn't, mark the microphone off.
Oh, that don't matter.
I guess here we are.
Are we all here?
Yeah, Jim is not going to make it, unfortunately.
Oh,
Said he had an issue pop up that he had to deal with. So
bummer.
yeah, it's unfortunate.
Well, okay.
So I suppose the show must go on. So where we left off, you guys had landed on Vorach, or Vorach, however you want to pronounce it, 5, and in trying to figure out what happened to Colonel Price and his Marines, uh, you found that one of their, one of their drop ships, they had two drop ships. One had basically been shot down and crash landed. The other had apparently been damaged while they went into this cave system. There's an engineer ship parked on top of a plateau, a large round plateau that seems to be almost perfectly sized for it. And there's multiple entrances. There's two entrances into this cave system, one on the western side of the plateau and one on the southern side. You guys arranged with Colonel Price to pick him and the last couple of his guys up on a large plain to the west of the plateau. And when you got there, he wasn't there. You set up a couple sentry guns around the ship, and Hicks, one of the security guys, and I don't recall, I'm sorry if it was Jake or Dwayne, went investigating one of the down drop ships to figure out if you could figure out where the Marines were, and activating one of the computer systems in the dropship. You guys, using the battery pack from one of your motion trackers, you found that most of the Marines are dead, but there's a number of them that are still alive with very low life signs. And I believe you had the ability to know that they are in the cave system. And that's really kind of where we left off. You guys hadn't quite decided what the next step was. Hicks and everybody reunited outside, because that's right, you guys didn't land Magellan down in the grassy plain. You landed your lifeboat. Magellan is just kind of flying around up in the air waiting to figure out what's going to happen. and you guys have it's Hicks, it's Dwayne Dunning, Rudy, Jake, two security guys, and you also have Rose Whitehill with you,
Boy.
who's geared up for battle, wearing armor and carrying a submachine gun.
All right.
Question becomes, what's the plan, guys? You know
Well,
that Price
all
and
right.
several Marines are alive.
Yeah, but they're sort of alive. They're in that hive. We had, it was the last snippet of video that showed us they were encrusted in that black crap, right?
Yeah, you did get a sense of that. That's right, because you had watched the video in reverse, and there was a lot of fighting. There was a lot of pulse rifles and smart guns firing off. You also heard and maybe caught glimpses of Yautja and Yautja weapons, as well as xenomorphs. And without sitting down and watching the whole thing, you got the sense that the Marines gave them what for pretty well. It seemed like they took out a fair number of the creatures, but in the end...
Yeah, but they've gone from 20-something down to just a few.
Right.
All right, so the discussion we were having when we broke last time was whether chest bursters could be removed, and Ripley made it clear that she had a chest burster that was removed, but on the other hand, I gotta tell you, I think none of us said it, but by asking the question, we had come to at least in our own brains, come to the conclusion that these guys are probably impregnated to have chest bursters in them. And I'm not sure, with the main goal, i.e. the ship, staring us right there, up on a plateau. Of course, seems pretty obvious it's sitting there on a silver platter, but Rudy can fly it. That's our main goal, and I don't know. Go ahead.
If you find an engineer flute.
Correct. So that's the other tricky part. None of us have seen anything like that. The question is there one on the ship? But, so the question is, do we really want to wade into those caves and get tied up with the Yautja and the xenomorphs, or not? Knowing that we're going to rescue some guys that probably have chest bursters in them.
Well, we might be able to get a flute down there.
We might.
Well, we don't know that there isn't one on the ship.
Right.
I mean, I definitely hearing what Marty's putting down. Like, we know about chest bursters. We know how they incubate. And we know that, if you're down in a hive unsupervised for any length of time, we should assume that you're infected. And so what's the plan with these guys? We're going to put them down on like our lifeboat with us and take them back when they could like burst at any moment.
I know, that's the thing. Dwayne's nightmares notwithstanding about leaving anyone behind.
Well,
he has daymares about turning something loose on the ship.
If we can put them in cryo until we get to a medical facility, they could potentially take them out. Yes, it might be worthwhile going to the ship and have a look around there while the Yautja cleans out the area for us, and then go in and pick up our Marines after the Yautja are done. That might be a very good idea.
Of course, once the Yautja complete the xenomorphs, they might clean us out too.
Two.
They took out Price's ship. All right, so it seems to me that step one is, this is just my suggestion. It seems to me that step one is to check out the ship and see if, one, we can gain access, two, if Rudy can make sense of any of the markings and other stuff that she sees in there since she studied the language, and then see if we can find a flute on board.
Reading and writing should be no problem. Speaking will require some learning on the fly.
Well, hopefully you don't need to speak it to fly the ship.
Yeah, if I have to speak it, that means we have very, very big problems.
I don't know. What do you guys think? Say again, our party, our party is, now, remind me again, back on the Magellan, is Ripley and Newt back on the Magellan?
Yeah. Everyone you see here is who you guys have down on the planet.
Right. Okay.
Well, if we're deciding between going into the hive for a rescue attempt or going to the ship, if those are our two choices, I would vote for the ship.
I would too. Let's see if we can. Satisfy our objectives by going on the ship first, because I gotta say, it's Price and how many Marines left too?
What do you see as our objectives right now?
Well, our objective, I thought our primary objective was to, well, first of all, I thought our primary objective was to figure out if this is the planet where all the shit was coming down from, and it seems like we figured that out. Second was to get the engineer technology, which is on the ship. If we could get the ship, and I know Rose wants the ship, if we could get the ship, that would be huge, because with the ship and the technology on the ship, and what Rudy's learned already can help decipher stuff on the ship, I think that can go a long way to coming up with some kind of countermeasures that can be used against the engineers and their xenomorphs.
Does Rose have anything to say about, if we do get this ship off the ground, what her plan is? I mean, you can't just park it on the side of the street. Everybody in the universe is going to be looking for this thing. What then?
Well, I think I don't know that Rose knows the answer to that question.
She doesn't have a secret hideaway planet or anything like that?
Well, the closest thing was Grendel, and
Yeah.
they, we know what happened there. So, sorry, my PDF just did something weird. There we go. Honestly, Rose only figured you guys had probably a 50-50 chance of actually even finding an engineer ship here. She half expected that you guys would get to this planet and there wouldn't be anybody here. And without a giant C-shaped ship parked on top of a plateau to say, come here, she wasn't sure you guys would find anything. Primary objective is to secure as much engineer technology, if not the ship itself, and return to UA space to pick up Verhoeven. That's the primary objective. Secondary objective, as far as she's concerned, is also to find a some sort of pure unprogrammed sample of the black goo for, frankly, for the medical benefits that it could offer, perhaps in helping Verhoeven with his condition, which in the end is just extremely old age. Um, and of course Andy's character as well to some extent. The medical benefits and applications of that black goo are tremendous, except all the samples of it that have been found have been specifically programmed to do what it does now. And from her perspective, Dr. Katori Khan have hypothesized that there's got to be a version of it that hasn't been pre-programmed as some sort of mutagenic substance or bioweapon. The So primary and secondary objectives to her, saving the Marines, are probably a tertiary objective. If it can be done, great, but not at the expense of securing the technology. Saving a Marine colonel could have some advantage to SSI if you can, in fact, save him. So it's on the table, but it's not her primary concern.
Well, the issue I have, the questions I have about saving them are, well, thanks for the input, Rose. Now we understand your viewpoints on this. The problem with saving them is tracking their location. I think, first of all, you couldn't. I don't think you could tell much about the cave complex from the video we saw, and I don't know if we can track. I don't know how well we could track their signals.
Hicks says I can solve that. All we have to do is give the frequencies the PDTs are on. We could feed them into Magellan up in the air, and Magellan could tell us how far away they are.
And what general direction.
Correct. Wouldn't be in 3 dimensions, it would just be 2-dimensional.
Right.
But absolutely.
And we'd still have to work our way through some kind of labyrinth. Okay.
Which Hicks, as a side note, though I guess nobody's really asked him, but I'll just put it out there. Hicks's primary concern is the safety of Newt and Ripley, which they're up on the ship anyway. His secondary concern is blowing the doors open on the entire engineered xenomorph scourge / conspiracy that's going on, which you guys have already to some extent worked on that. I think he would view recovering an engineer ship, if at all possible, as a slam dunk towards that. I mean, you guys made your big file dump, into the network right before you left UA space.
Yep.
And you really don't even know how that's panned out yet, because you guys have been gone almost 2 months already.
And the big issue for Dwayne, that's got his cookies crumbled, is that Wei-Yu has been kind of hiding. Well, yeah, Wei-Yu in particular has been hiding this whole threat to the human race so that they could try and weaponize the stuff and make money. And so their short-sighted goal to make some cash has got the long view of putting the whole human race at risk. That, and also this Yautja thing. All right, so Rudy, Hicks, what do you think? We go for the ship?
Or Rudy Jake, rather?
I mean, Rudy.
I think we should go for the ship. I think we need to talk with Rose about, because we might become separated. Some bad shit might happen to one of us, might die or whatever. If we can get this thing off the ground? What are we going to do with it? Do we, we might have to leave here in a hurry. I'd like to have this wrinkle ironed out before we before we start.
Boy, I don't know.
Does she? I mean, she's the one we're leaning on for the stealth stuff. Does she have any suggestions?
Well, the Magellan's already airborne. So
Right, and we can get airborne. It's just that once we break orbit with the new ship, where do we take it? Because we have to take it somewhere where word won't get out. I mean, we want word to get out, but what I'm trying to say is it wasn't like we were just going to fly it into UA space and say, here it is. Because we don't trust the UA necessarily.
Right. I'm
don't
thinking
trust
more
governments.
of a hidey hole, if she knows of one.
Yeah, and then let the information out in a controlled way. Because if we go to any one government, that government might be just as bad as WayU and might snag onto it and throw us in a deep,
I would just assume they'll take it. You know.
Yeah.
Think about today. If you said, you know, I have a working alien spaceship, and it was actually true, you wouldn't be holding on to that thing.
No. No. Suddenly, your security clearance wouldn't even be high enough to look at it.
Right. Thank you for finding this. Where did it go? We don't. You're not cleared for that information.
We have top men.
Top men looking into it. Top.
Ooh, top men.
So does she have any? Does she know of a hidey hole or something?
I'm sure she does,
She
but
does?
we're putting the cart before the horse at this point.
Yeah. Okay.
I think we need to secure the ship first. If we can't do that, it doesn't really matter.
I understand all that. It's just that we've got to have an idea because, well,
I just know how things usually go.
Well, what I'm worried
Our hair will be on fire. People will be shooting at us.
Well, the Yautja ship.
Some of us won't be conscious.
The Yautja ship could be a severe problem unless we can jump to FTL and get out of there.
Anybody else getting the idea that there's a lot of ifs with this?
Hold it. It was the engineer ships that jumped to FTL in the atmosphere, right?
Yes.
Huh. We could do that.
It also completely leveled an entire colony, but yeah.
Well, that would solve some of our problems if we have a whole bunch of xenomorphs here that aren't dead yet, and Rudy could take off and jump to FTL, and
if only we could nuke it from orbit.
Well, that would be about the same thing.
Right. It's the only way to be sure.
Let's get on with the step 1 of 37. And the reason I brought Hicks into it is because he's our main. He's got one SSI guy left, right? Or two. He and the 2 SSI guys are our main protection. Right.
The first step is to determine how to access the ship.
Right, and we got to go to the ship, which means we've got to get out in the open.
It's up on the plateau.
I guess no time like the present, huh?
Well, are we gonna hump there? Who flew the lifeboat?
I think Rudy did.
Rudy did. Yeah. After that landing, I'm not sure I want to have Rudy try and. Well, it won't work anyway.
With the landing.
Yeah, did something happen? I don't remember. I don't think so.
I remember you having one success. So
yeah, I had one success.
It was a little. It was It was fine, but bouncy.
You know what the minimum requirements for a safe landing is? One success.
Yeah, walk away. I just like the number of takeoffs and landings to be an even number.
Yes,
Same
please.
thing on submarines. The number
Yes,
of
please.
dives and surfaces should be an even number. Okay. Well, what I was thinking was maybe we take the workboat over and we rappel out of the workboat, but that would leave Rudy flying the workboat, and I think we're going to need Rudy to pilot the ship. So I guess we hump. So how many of us? There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Can any of you fly the lifeboat back to the Magellan?
Let me check. I think I have some rudimentary piloting skill. Let me check my sheet.
Yeah, we should check so that this
as
doesn't
a-
turn into a riddle where you have a farmer and the chicken and the fox in one boat, and you got to figure out how to go back and
Yes,
forth.
I have 5 piloting dice,
All right,
which
so you can
isn't
get it.
terrible.
Yeah.
It's not great,
That'll work.
but it's not terrible.
As a side note, the plateau is literally about a 50-foot tall sheer cliff on all sides. So it would require some extensive climbing if you wanted to try to climb up it. You know, the other option would be to, like you said, come at it from the air. You guys just have to decide how you want to do that.
Is there enough room on the plateau for us to land our lifeboat next to the ship?
You know, that is an interesting question. And I guess, well, the answer would be yes, because of the shape of the ship. The ship is basically an M-class size vessel. It's the same size as your same
Magellan?
size as Magellan. Of course,
Okay.
the lifeboat is much, much smaller.
Right.
And with the shape of the ship being kind of this C shape, there's a lot of empty space in the middle of it. So theoretically, you should be able to land the lifeboat on the plateau in the middle of the ship.
And how many piloting dice do you have, Rudy?
Seven or eight.
Shoot, I was talking the whole damn time.
Yeah, I was
That
going to
tilde
say.
key thing is really going to mess me up. I'm so sorry, guys. I believe I have 8 dice.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I think that's the way to do it then. Did you say 50 meters?
Yeah. No, 50 feet.
50 feet. Oh, good. 50 meters, 165 feet. That's a long way.
Long way to fall. Oh, let me derail this for just 1 second. Do you guys have the physical rule book? Like the actual book itself?
No,
I do
not
not.
the hard
PDF.
copy.
I'm with Bob, just PDF.
I've got the PDF.
All right. Because this was when I backed Blade Runner. I backed it to a level that got me an extra copy of the book. I thought I was just getting a PDF, but which I actually sent to Marty VP, but I actually got another physical copy of the book. It came in the mail, and it's a lot sturdier than the original one that I've got, which is, I don't know, what, 2 years old now? Because there's a big complaint with the Free League products, especially the main rulebook and Destroyer of Worlds, the binding going bad. You know, after not really a lot of usage, and I've noticed that with my own stuff, but this one I'm hoping is going to be a lot better. It's definitely a different manufacturer. There's some minor differences in the quality of the book. They clearly used a different company, but anyway, just putting that out there for anyone who cares. All right, so you guys are going to load up in the lifeboat and fly up there? Is that the idea?
I think we should give it a try. What do you guys think?
Yep. Either way, you know, if we climb, we have difficult rolls ahead.
It's a true statement.
If we fly, we have difficult rolls ahead. So
Also a true statement.
But if we fly, the difficult rolls are yours.
yeah, I love
So I'm
this.
all for that.
Love it.
All right, so I guess you would pack up your sentry guns and take them with you.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes, please.
Yeah.
and as the lifeboat lifts off, uh, and Rudy, as you climb into the sky, your perspective, your view of things change. This ship is very, very large in terms of its overall dimensions, but the actual internal volume of the ship is probably not much bigger than a G-class shuttle, because it's, the ship is shaped like a big C. There's a lot of empty space in the middle. Definitely large enough to land the lifeboat onto the plateau with it if you so choose. The the ship is strangely organic looking. That's the impression you get of it. And at the two ends, there's a number of there's horn-like protuberances and that type of thing. You don't see anything off the cuff that looks like an entrance. But if you'd like to land onto the plateau, you are looking at a piloting roll.
Did I uncover anything in my studies about where the front door is in one of these things?
You know what? That is a really interesting question, and I would say that the answer to that is probably a yes. I'm glad you asked that question. So based on, well, that, and that's important information. Based on what you were able to pick up, um, there are multiple entrances on the ships. There's entrances at either end, which are not enclosed. They actually just sit open all the time, but there's a high powered force field that's activated from the inside. You simply just can't pass through it. I mean, even operating in space, there's parts of the ship that don't have physical walls. They use a force field to maintain integrity. There is one other physical entrance, is towards, and let me pull up a picture of the ship just so I can make this a little visual for you. Let's see here. Nope, not what I'm looking for. Where are we at? Let's see if this one's a good one. Well, doesn't give you the whole ship, but that's okay. So you know that the two ends, the other one of course is out of frame on this picture, and I apologize for that, are just actually open and protected by a force field. Towards the center of the ship here, but on the underside of it, there is what is essentially an airlock, which, with the proper equipment, you could hook a ship up to it. And in the memories you saw where David actually docked that vessel with some sort of engineered docking mechanism that latched onto that spot. Unfortunately, that physical airlock is laying flat on the plateau. So you're
Right.
not sure if you
That's
can
what I
access
was
it that
thinking.
way.
It's sitting on it.
Right. So unless the force fields are open, it would be hard to access the ship.
I guess we won't know till we get there, right?
Fair enough. If you'd like to make your piloting roll, you're welcome to, sir.
All right then.
Or ma'am, as it were.
Is it possible to elicit help?
Does anybody else have piloting?
I do.
Sure. Gain a die of help.
Actually,
Glad I asked.
drivers.
He's looking out the window telling me a little to the left, a little to the right.
That's funny.
3 successes.
Look at that.
Well, that's
Now you're just showing off.
Yay, I did a thing.
Yeah, you did a thing. Rudy expertly lands the ship perfectly in the middle, exactly exactly in between the two curved sides of the vessel. Like she's probably 3 inches off at most. But no, landing it is no problem. The space is plenty large enough, and absolutely. So how would you guys like to proceed?
Okay, well,
I mean, gear up and step one, get out of the lifeboat, I suppose.
yeah, and start looking for a way into this thing.
Okay.
Are we going to walk around like one big pile of D&D players in a dungeon, or are we going to split up?
Well, the thing is only 300 meters end to end. So,
Only.
well, I mean, all things considered, that's all things considered. That's not even a quarter of a mile.
Never split the party, I say.
Okay. All right. Well, let's get on with it then. We've got our weapons. I don't think putting out the defense batteries does us any good. It'll just
it can't hurt.
Yeah, the main thing is we don't know if there's any Yautja here or of those aliens. So
okay. I'm with you. I just don't want to be. I don't want it shooting at me, and I don't want. I don't want.
It that way.
They have IFF, right? I mean,
I don't want projectiles bouncing off the ship and coming back at us. We're in a big circle.
If things start shooting, yeah, but if things start shooting, then we want those guns.
Yeah, right. we may have to come running out of this ship, like, with all kinds of horrible stuff on our heels. Knowing there's protection somewhere is good, I think. So I think I'm with Bob. We should definitely set these up.
Okay. All right. So you spend a few minutes getting those up and running, and they're just doing their thing, scanning. There's nothing picking up motion-wise. What do we want to look at first?
Okay, so before we start looking, I have a question about my watchful talent. It says I get a +2 modification to observation when trying to spot a sneak attack. So if I'm not trying to spot it, then I don't. Is that how you would say it?
Well, the way sneak attacks work in this game is the character or creature or whatever that's trying to attack you makes a mobility roll. And then by default, you make an observation roll as an opposed roll. In that instance, I would tell you when you would get the +2.
All right, what I would do, but that would let me know that there's a possibility of attack. So I would...
Correct, but in the terms of the game mechanics, it doesn't matter. Because if you fail the roll, whatever it is automatically gets a free attack. So you don't have an opportunity to.
And if I succeed in the roll, then we spot them,
and see it coming. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well then, let's get on with it. So, Rudy, you're the expert. What are we looking for? And I know that this is probably something you personally don't know, and so Hachi will have to tell us what Rudy would know. But what do we think a doorway into this thing or a hatch or whatever looks like?
I will relay what you have told me, Hachi.
Yeah, it's so on the underside of the vessel towards that center bulge, there is basically an airlock that just opens up, and from Rudy's memory was designed to attach to what is basically a docking umbilicus, though it wouldn't be compatible with anything you guys might have on Magellan. And then there's the entrances on the ends that are wide open that theoretically have force fields. Correct.
Okay, so that leaves us a couple things, but we need to take a look. Rudy, it sounds like it's possible. Maybe this thing's when they set this thing down, maybe it docked with some kind of hatch that's in the plateau that lets them go down into the caves.
We won't know. That's a viable scenario. Yeah.
All right. So, I guess we go check that out first.
All right. Let me get.
Well, I'm asking because All right, who's got the best observation?
Bob.
Bob.
Well,
Jake by far.
I will observe.
Please observe as hard as you can.
Oh shit. Would you like to push the roll?
Wow.
Why not?
Whew.
Crazy.
Wow. It's a lot of dice for one success. So as you guys start to, and I'm assuming you're starting your search basically right there at the center part of the vessel where the airlock's supposed to be. You know, as Jake looks down the curvature of this vessel, and as a side note, you really don't know what it's made out of. You know, your initial reaction is certainly that it's some sort of alloy, but it's it's warm to the touch, just slightly, and it you can certainly feel a very slight thrumming vibration. But as you look down and in terms of, you know, to give you a sense of scale, at its widest point, it's about 300 meters wide. You guys are standing near that center bulge, and it's you know, it's about 4 times human height. So it's you know, give or take, it's a good 20-25 feet tall. So there's probably 2 decks inside, you would imagine, or one really big deck. You're not sure, but neither here nor there. The lower curvature of the ship comes down, and as you're looking down, you know, you've got the ground up here is perfectly flat. It is 100% flat, which seems somewhat unnatural in general. The curvature of the ship comes down. As you look, there is a gap. You could crawl in there if you wanted to. But there is definitely some kind of connection, metallic, that is coming out of the ground and is attached to the bottom of the ship. So it seems to be what Dwayne hypothesized, the idea that there's some sort of mechanism in the plateau that's attached to the vessel.
There's no way to interrupt that connection, though, right? We can't like pop it off and climb in there.
No, I mean it is quite literally where it connects. If you were to crawl up underneath the ship, it's probably you probably can see about a foot of it, and that's about it. It's literally only about that much that you can see. Now, I mean, someone with a cutting torch could try to crawl in there and see if they could cut through it. That being said, not sure how long it would take, or if you could even cut through a large enough area for someone to crawl through, or how thick it is, or. But there's certainly no controls or anything along those lines.
Those are the only options that that I'm aware of. Is these 3 openings?
Correct.
And we can't go to the bottom one, so left side.
As good as any.
All right. As you walk away from that and head over to the horny the horny protrusions. Oh damn!
Oh,
I can't
man.
believe I just said that. On that
I
end
liked
of the
it.
ship, yeah. You definitely find the open portal that Rudy is knowing to look for from her imported David memories. It's about 10 feet tall and about a dozen foot wide, and there is a you don't necessarily see it when you're walking straight up towards it, but when you're coming at it from a little bit of an angle, there's definitely a blue-green sheen across that opening. Kind of electronic or holographic is the best way to put it. Unless you want to touch it.
No, I don't think I need to test the wet paint.
I taste it.
We could throw a rock or two against it and see what happens.
You can do that, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah,
Um,
Jake will do the experimental method and throw some rocks at it.
it's right, highly scientific. Um, the uh, the rock strikes something kind of unseen in midair, and when it does, there is a bluish green bloom around where the rock strikes it. That becomes almost kind of goes from transparent to translucent to almost opaque for a moment, and then it fades away as the rock hits the ground.
Hmm.
Well, at least the rocks didn't explode.
Question is, if you stick your tongue to it, will your tongue stick? That's the
Hey,
question.
Dwayne, want to make $5?
I'm gonna make $20 the hard way.
Will you have to
Um,
call the fire department to get him unstuck?
um, what do we do, you guys?
Well, what does Rudy know about how these things get controlled?
The force fields?
Yeah.
Um, near as you can tell from the command center inside the
I
ship.
mean, how do you open it from the outside? Do you have to whistle something? Is there a code? How does it work?
That you don't actually know.
So basically, the only way into the ship is to go into the station that's carved out underground, where all the Yautja and aliens are, and try and find the docking entrance. Is that what it's boiling down to?
It's almost like some evil game masters planned it that way.
Yeah.
Well, if that's the case, then we should get going. But I mean, maybe we should look for a access panel or something before we leave, just in case.
You can do that, absolutely. Anyone who wants to do that, just go ahead and make an observation roll. Or we can just have Bob make the. Oh, well, wow, Rudy with 2 and Jake with 2. Wow, okay. There doesn't seem to be anything that you can access on the outside part of the ship. Um, the ship has a, for lack of a better term, has a shockingly organic design about it, whereas conventional spacecraft, human ships, you definitely have access panels for maintenance. And not only that, but you've got different components of the ship that are crafted and then assembled and put together. This, it, even though there's a degree of organic lines and striations to it, none of it appears to come apart from any other part. It all seems to be one giant piece. Jake, you as a biologist, you get the sense almost as if it were grown and not built.
Well, don't think we're going to get in this way unless we've got the master key. What do you guys
Alrighty,
want to do?
I guess we just have to accept it and leave. Go find that cave and do it the hard way.
So, um, so if you want to, as you put it, do it the hard way, you've got two choices as to how you guys want to go about this. Because the cave system has two entrances. It has the one on the western side, which is the side that you originally parked your lifeboat on, and then you've got the southern entrance, which is where the Marines entered. So you can go either. You just have to tell me which direction you want to go. How are you going about this? Are you parking the ship back in the field about a kilometer away from the cave system and hoofing it, or are you parking closer, or what's the plan?
I definitely think we should take the ship. No, I mean
Yep.
we can't. We'd have to do a 150-foot mountain climb to get off this plateau anyway, so we don't have much choice.
Might as well park at the entrance. Why not?
Yeah.
I think anybody that didn't know that we're here probably knows that we're here by now.
And then we'll set up the turrets. I guess you need a piloting roll.
You had 3 successes on your piloting roll to land up there. I'm just gonna let you.
Thank you.
I'm just gonna give it to you for free.
I lost the map, by the way.
Yeah, I know. That's my fault.
Okay.
You should have a dark screen, yeah?
Yeah.
Perfect. It's exactly the way I want you, is in the dark. Which entrance are we going for? We're going for the western entrance or the southern entrance?
Which one looked closest to the engineer ship?
Probably equidistant.
Which one looks least used?
Well, you know the Marines went through the southern entrance, and they exited the western entrance. So the western entrance is definitely larger. It's much wider.
Well, for failure of anything better, go west, young man.
West it is.
All right, very good. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to pull you guys over to the map so you can see what's going on. Who do I need? I need Dwayne Dunning. I need Dr. Sinclair. I need Rudy. Rudy, come on, drag Rudy. There we go. Technically, I'll get there when I need him, because you guys also have Hicks and 2 SSI guys with you. Now, I need to give you guys some vision. Vision. Just looking in that's light. Anybody see anything on the map?
Negative.
No. Oh, wait. Yeah.
Okay, so I got Dwayne. Okay. What about you, Jake? Do you have light now?
Yes.
Okay,
I see a big 5.
Yep.
Okay.
All right. And Rudy should be able to see. Yeah.
Correct.
Okay. Perfect. Perfect. The western cave entrance. It's it's pretty wide. It's about 30 feet wide, and inside is a dark cave. Hicks will kick on his flashlight, and the cave widens up to about 50 feet as you go further in, and there is a big wide entrance, or a big. I'm sorry. There's a. Sorry. Hold on. Brain messing up a little bit on me. I have found sometimes that having gone through COVID, like when I'm writing, I sometimes I'll type out a word and then I'll look at it and go, that's not what I typed. It's very strange. And sometimes numbers and letters transpose, which I wonder if that's the way people with dyslexia operate. I don't know, but it's kind of weird. So let me start over. As you enter the western side of the cavern, obviously there's some soft sunlight filtering in, but it's pretty dark inside. Hicks turns on his flashlight. The cave system widens out as you go further in. Further to the east, slightly northeast is the way it goes now, and it gets larger further on. There is and you probably don't see it the way the dynamic lighting is set, and I apologize, but to the southeast, there is a much narrower tunnel that goes off down this way, and when Hicks pans his flashlight around, it ends in one of those small. It ends in one of those large spherical rock rolling doors that you guys encountered back on GBH 45. Relatively small one, only about 10 foot across. Directly to the north is a big one, about 20 feet across. Um, and it's got, it's got some sort of writing on it, that type of thing. Other than that, the cave system itself is, I mean, it just, where you're standing, it just looks like a big cave.
Let's make sure to set up the turrets here.
Setting them up like at the cave entrance?
Yeah, just to provide cover if we have to fall back here under fire.
Okay, that's good. I like that. That's fine. Setting up 2 of those.
However many we got.
All right, that is perfect. Oh, and you guys talked about this, and no one really said anything, but I think Hicks would have spearheaded this, contacting Magellan to set up the the tracking of the Marines PDT chips, even though as we've talked about, um, that's not necessarily shit. That's not necessarily your primary objective, but they are. It does seem that you're about 200, maybe a little more than 200, depending, meters away from them, mostly to the east, but east northeast. So following the main cave system. Then you have the big rolling door to the north and the little rolling spherical door to the south.
Well, anybody get a tingly feeling?
Well, have a look at the doors and the floor and see if there's been any movement through here.
Make an observation roll, please, Jake. Oh, I've got it on the wrong screen. 1 success. So yes, there is. There's definitely, as you start to look around, and do you have your own flashlight? I don't know if do you have a high beam flashlight?
That's a good question.
I know I have a flashlight.
I have one on my, on my
The
left.
airplane with light and scope.
Okay, so make a power roll on your flashlight, and as you look around, you start to see the telltale signs of fighting. All right, very good. There's there's blood, regular human blood, and you see a couple pools of oxidized xenomorph acid blood, as well as a couple of dead xenomorphs. So there definitely there was fighting here. The door to the south is just it's a 10-foot wide spherical door, apparently made of rock. The door to the north, which is much larger, it's about 20-foot wide, has engineer runes or hieroglyphics, whatever their written language is, scrawled across it. That's everything of note.
Want to see if you can figure out what those engineered glyphs mean?
Any chance?
Yeah. Because you're 3 points into your engineer language. So speaking it's a little harder, but you can certainly decipher it. Whatever the exact engineer word is, it's basically the equivalent of workshop.
That's a workshop.
And which entrance would take us closer to the ship? I guess we use the doors, that are directionally closer to the ship for lack of anything better.
Yeah, that's that's a really good question. Based on the way the ship was oriented on the plateau, the central portion where the airlock is was on the northern side of the plateau. So obviously you've got this door that goes due north, and then the main cave system which kind of goes northeast.
Should we try for due north as long as we can?
Why not?
Okay,
All right.
let's investigate that.
So as you guys approach that door and you come close, it does its thing where it starts to roll around with a very slight grating sound, and it opens up and reveals a passageway going into the next part of the cave system. Um,
Quick question: we don't have any of those Marine guys with us, do we?
yeah, you get two of them.
Oh, we do. Okay, it's just I didn't see their.
Yeah, I don't have them on the map, but you got two
Okay.
plus Hicks.
Oh, Hicks is okay. So Hicks is with us too.
Yeah, I think, I think Hicks would probably lead the way in.
Heck yeah, get in there, Hicks.
That's right. I'm gonna go ahead and drag Hicks to the map so I don't forget about him. All right. So as he moves in, he's flashing his flashlight around. As as you guys move in behind him, I'm just going to drag you all in so that you can see the. You should see that area now. Big area that says 7.
I only see my icon and everything around it is black.
That is the same for me.
What is with this dynamic lighting? Hold on.
We switch on our high beam flashlights.
Yeah, that's right.
There we go.
All right.
Needed to switch them on.
Getting some vision now.
Yep.
All right. The dynamic lighting is a cool idea. I sometimes wonder if it's more trouble than it's worth. All right.
Am I supposed to be all by myself?
No, you're.
There we go.
Yeah, you're up here.
All right, now I can see the same thing they're seeing.
Yeah, I'm gonna move you guys around a little bit just to reveal the map. So.
Oh, I understand. Okay.
All right. So this cave kind of moves north and then it bends around to the east. There's another one of the round doors at the far end of the cave. Some good 100+ feet in. Bob, you especially, and Dwayne to an extent. You guys certainly, you probably have a different point of view on it. Bob, your immediate reaction is that you've entered some sort of lab, whereas Dwayne, your reaction is probably more like a mechanical workshop. There are stone benches everywhere. There is what you guys would describe as equipment, though its use you're really not sure. It seems to be made of the same type of material as the engineer ship. It appears metal at first, but you're really not certain without doing some sort of analysis on it. There is a circular pass. There's a break in the cave wall that seems to go into a tunnel up to the north. There's a number of stone spheres here, about a half dozen of them, about 6 inches wide or 6 inches in diameter that are on the workbenches. So yeah, it's a question of where you want to start.
Do we know what these stone spheres do again?
They look very similar to the ones you saw on GBH 45 uh, that looks like they twist open, and they're used as containers. You guys found a few of them on GBH 45, some that were in the lab that were open and didn't have anything in them, and there were a couple that you saw down in the cave complex below, but you didn't mess with them. You just moved on you just kept going through the cave because you knew the Yautja were behind you.
Jake will stop to try and open one unless people, rush him.
Is that really what we want to do?
Well, it might have indication of where the flute is or something like that.
Well, what's the likeliest thing in one of these tubes? I mean, what are you expecting to find?
Oh, you guys have Rose with you as well.
Yeah.
That's right.
Well, it might have pure black goo in it.
That's what I'm afraid of. It's literally the thing I'm afraid of, is that it's full of black goo. I mean, I could see taking one back, but I don't know if we want to crack the lid on it, I mean, I just don't want you to get hurt. I don't breathe oxygen, so I could carry you home.
We throw them in a backpack.
Okay, that's fine. You can do that, absolutely. We'll call that. I mean, they're not very heavy individually, so we'll call it. Just put them on your character sheet as stone spheres and make them a weight 1 item. What else would you guys like to do here?
Well, I'm helping Bob pack away the samples.
All right.
Well, if there's no control flute here, I guess we move on.
Make an observation roll.
Yeah.
Ew.
I just see these stone spheres. They the only thing important to me.
Yeah.
Don't know about the rest of you.
Yeah, that is a true statement. Doesn't.
Can I roll too?
You can, sure.
Oh, okay. I thought it was just for him. Sorry. I'm sorry.
No.
We all get to take a look, huh?
Yeah, if you like.
Eagle-eyed Dwayne.
Yeah. Dwayne, on the far side of the room, on the far side of the cave, close to the other stone door on the far eastern edge, there is a metallic workbench with a few pieces of very alien equipment, and you see what certainly looks like a flute.
Hey, Rudy, come with me. Let's check this out. I see something over here.
Interesting.
Might be what you're looking for.
Let's have a look.
This is not the flute you're looking for. Except when it is the flute you're looking for.
Sounds like the intro to a very dirty movie.
It certainly looks like what you've seen from David's memories. It's 8 or 10 inches long. It certainly looks like a flute. Made of a strange material. Your initial reaction is that that it's plastic, but as the more you look at it, it's definitely not plastic. It's some sort of synthetic. Um, as you guys were moving that way, Dwayne probably stuck his head back in here very carefully, uh, gun first, and he reports back that or I should say Hicks. He
Hicks.
he reports back that there's some of those vases back there. So I don't know that we want to go back there. It looks like it's just a circular tunnel. There's no entrances or other entrances or exits, but there's a handful of those vases back there.
Well, we know what's in those, don't we?
Yeah, you've got a pretty good
At least
idea.
we suspect. Oh,
Yeah.
I'm speaking rhetorically. All right, so Rudy, you grabbed that flute-looking thing, right?
Yep, I shall grab it.
Since I had some successes, can I make heads or tails out of any of the other equipment on this bench?
No,
Okay.
it's unlike anything you've ever seen before. You get the impression that it's for some sort of on this particular bench, it's for some sort of fabrication purposes, but how it operates, no idea.
All right.
And then you guys can probably just barely see the edge of it on the map, the way the dynamic lighting works. 10-foot wide spherical door with more engineer writing on it.
Well, Rudy, what's the writing say?
Yeah, Rudy.
Yeah, Rudy. What's the writing say?
You think it translates to something like Gallery of Ages.
Something called the Gallery of Ages, whatever that means.
Well, we need something that says "this way to the ship."
You are here. Ship exit here.
Does Gallery of Ages mean anything to me after my studies?
No.
Is that like a euphemism for, I don't know, movie theater or something?
Museum.
Not sure.
Art gallery.
So is that appears to be the only other way to go?
Yeah, unless you go back to the main cave system.
Right. But it does go east though, right?
The door is on the eastern side of the cavern, yeah.
Yeah, that doesn't mean that's where it goes, but it's on the eastern side of the cavern. We were trying to go north.
Well, it's kind of northeast.
Anyway, what do you guys want to do?
And for penny and for pound, you got to keep going, don't you?
Let's go.
All right. All right. So as you guys enter, start pulling everybody in. It's going to get crowded, but that's okay. All right.
Who has a motion tracker, by the way?
Hicks does.
I knew one of the SSI guys had a motion tracker. I didn't know if it was Hicks or one of his henchmen.
Hicks has one, and I think Jake's got one as well. He's got one of the freestanding ones.
Oh, okay.
Which is actually longer range.
Gentlemen, is it too early for a bathroom break?
No, we can take a quick 3-minute break. Hit the head.
All right.
You don't mind? I could use it. Thank you.
I'm going to get some more coffee. Hey, Hachi, hold up your mug. Oh, lost him.
If anyone's there, I'll be right back.
Hey, Hachi, hold up your coffee mug. Those things hold a lot.
Yeah, I like these. Thank you for that.
They make a bigger one than that even.
Oh, bigger's always better. Paige ordered a few. Have you had any coffee from Bones Coffee?
No.
They're we really enjoy their coffee.
Bones Coffee.
Yeah. It's you can buy K cups, but it's mostly drip. It's obviously less. I mean, it's not inexpensive coffee, but it's very good. They also have some hand thrown mugs that are really nice too. They have a good heft to them, and they hold quite a bit. But yeah, give them a shot. Bones Coffee's really good.
Website, I'm assuming.
Yeah, I don't know the exact URL, but I'm sure if you
Oh, Google it.
Google Bones Coffee, it'll bring it up. Rudy and Jake.
Yep, back.
Okay.
There it is, bonescoffee.com.
I'm back.
All right.
Thank you guys.
Not a problem. Not a problem. So this cavern, as you enter it, is um, the walls and the ceilings are covered with painted murals. There are stone sculptures. Um, you there, Dwayne? Oh, there he is. Just lost visual. Wasn't sure if we lost you or not. There are stone sculptures just everywhere throughout the cavern. there are many, many images here. Um, so it's a question of where you'd like to start. But as you shine your flashlights around, you almost jump out of your skin because there's images, there's stone sculptures of engineers, and they're not just stone, they're painted with some sort of enamel. Your first reaction is holy crap, but then you realize that it's a statue. But it's not just engineers. There's statues of xenomorphs as well. There's even a reproduction of the statue you saw down in GBH 45 with the female engineer and the two xenomorphs that were almost, praying at her feet. It would seem. Um, there's even a statue of a Yautja. Couple large stone heads of that you've come to associate with engineer heads, and there's murals painted across the wall, and across the walls, the cave walls, and you almost get a sense of you almost get a sense of being in an historical art gallery. There's images that look like star systems, though you don't recognize them. Maybe it's the point of view, or maybe they're just not systems you're familiar with. I mean, obviously there's a lot of stars in the galaxy. Um, you see an image of what looks like three or four humanoid figures standing on a precipice overlooking a huge giant river with waterfall and roiling oceans. You see images of that almost indicate the creation of life, as it evolved and crawled from the oceans. You see other images of kind of a similar creation type situation. Three or four engineers standing amongst an almost swamp-like planet with four-legged, mandibled reptiles. And you watch across the images as they almost seem to rise into a humanoid form, going from four legs to two, ending in what you come to recognize as a Yautja. There's a lot to take in here, but you get the sense that you're looking at a historical representation of the creation of life. You see depictions of humans. You see depictions of Arcturans. You see depictions of Yautja. Uh, and in all of these depictions, in all of these murals and pictures, somewhere, either in the forefront or in the background, are images of engineers. It's truly incredible. Makes you question your entire place in the world. I think it's worth a point of stress, really.
Why not?
Make sure to get video of all of this, especially the star systems, which we might be able to figure a little bit more info out about.
Very good, very good.
So it begs the question where the engineers came from.
And all this, as you guys see all this as you're moving, further into the cave. Um,
Do we see? Do
Go
we
ahead.
see any that show the evolution of the xenomorphs?
Um, Not specifically in evolution. You definitely get the sense uh, that the engineers created the xenomorphs.
Yeah, well, we figured that. I was just wondering if we saw an evolution or if it just they start popping up.
They pretty much just start popping up, always in the presence of a female engineer. And the cave continues north, and you can see it on the map how it kind of bends off to the east out of view. Um, and then Hicks announces, "We've got movement."
Good movement, bad movement. What does movement mean?
He rotates around so he's facing back the way you guys came, and he says, "It's behind us." About let's see here. Let me do the quick math. About 30 meters, and it's coming closer. So it's coming from that way.
From southwest.
Yeah, from where you came.
All right, let's prepare for contact.
Ambush time, I guess.
Yeah,
All right.
find cover, find a place to good field to fire.
Rose.
Before we turn around and face southwest, I'd like to take a peek to the east,
Okay, around that corner.
around that corner, so that we don't have something coming at us.
Right there. There is. There is. Sorry. Brain is having. It is. The indication you get is that it's a lift, an elevator.
Oh. Okay.
Its design is somewhat unfamiliar, but let's be blunt. An elevator is going to look like an elevator, whoever makes it. Flanking it on either side are two statues, the kind of which you guys have seen before. If I can find an example of one. There we go. That they're flanking it are two of those statues. I don't know if you guys are seeing that or not.
Yep.
Okay, very good. But I mean, it definitely looks like a lift. Looks like it goes up, not down. And I think Rose kind of came with you and saw that, and she goes, "Well, that's it, isn't it? It's got to go up into the ship."
Theoretically. So the question is, I'd say let's try and beat feet and go up into the ship before whatever's coming catches up.
Was just going to say, let's do it. Let's move.
All right.
Do it now.
As you guys start to move that way, you hear the sound of the door opening behind you. And as it opens, there is a huge figure that comes through. It's
Shall be carrying around the mountain when she comes.
It's probably 10 foot tall. Indication you get is male. Hairless, perfectly smooth, large round skull. White, almost blue skin. Huge black eyes. And it's dressed similarly to those statues that you saw right there. This strange biomechanical almost looking suit that looks surprisingly like, when you think about it for a moment, surprisingly like a xenomorph. It is carrying something in both hands, which you get the indication is a huge rifle. Or get the indication, you know what I'm trying to say. You get the impression that it's a huge rifle. And I think we have to deal initiative cards. What do you guys think?
Yeah. Okay.
Now, unfortunately, I don't know where my alien initiative cards went.
How'd that happen?
I don't know. They're around. They're probably in one of the box sets or something somewhere. I don't know. So anyway, I just grabbed regular playing cards because they will certainly get the job done. Who has fast reflexes? I know a couple of you do. I think Dwayne and Jake. Do you guys have fast reflexes?
I do. Yep.
I don't.
I haven't.
Rudy does. Okay. All right. Very good. So I believe that lets you guys pick 2 cards. You get 2 cards and you pick one. Do you get to pick first as well?
Yeah.
That's what I thought. All right. So we'll start with Rudy just because she's first on my screen. Rudy, your options, I'm sorry, are a 7 or an 8.
7, I guess.
7, I guess. All right. So let's do that. I found an easier way to do this, and I can't remember what it is. Shoot. I found an easier way to do initiative, and I just can't seem to brain through what it was. So that's okay. We'll do it the old-fashioned way. Rudy has a 7. All right. Dwayne,
Hit me.
You got a 3 and a 10. You want the 3?
I'll take the 3.
I'm shocked. All right, very good. All right, so now we're on to Jake. Jake has a 6.
Yep.
All right. All right. And let's see. Well, I guess we can do the. I guess I can do everybody else is just 1. What the heck? Technical difficulties. Yay, there we go. All right, Jake is a 6. All right, all the NPCs are on a 10. Poor guys. So that's Hicks and his SSI guys and Rose are all on a 10. And then 2 and 4 for our friendly neighborhood engineer, which unfortunately beats all of you, doesn't it? I didn't plan it that way, I promise. It just kind of happened.
Yeah, starting to wonder about those physical cards you're dealing.
I sit there and I shuffle them up between every time I promise. I need to put something in to put the NPCs on a 10. I'll put it under Rose. Initiative card 10. Very good. And last but not least, where is he? There we go. Oh, I don't have an icon for him. Shit. All right, well, I'll just keep it in front of me. That's fine. All right, so we're going to put this in ascending order. And so first is going to be A2. He levels his rifle.
Sorry, 1 sec. Did you roll for Hicks?
He's
Or, I mean, did you pull a card for Hicks? Okay.
Yeah, he's under
So
Rose.
he's a 10?
He's a 10.
He's a 10? Okay.
All right, so we have 5 guys basically towards the front because Dwayne and Rose went to the back. So Jake is going to be number 1. Annika's a 2. Hicks is a 3. The SSI guys are 4 or 5, and I roll a 6. If I roll a 6, it'll just re-roll. All right, so he shoots at Annika. Annika Rudat. I need the advanced dice roller because I don't have a character sheet handy for this guy for some reason. I never made one because I'm terrible, apparently. 3 successes. Annika, would you please roll your armor? 2 successes. Not enough. A reddish beam, this thing starts to glow for a second, and a reddish beam comes out of what you can only describe as the muzzle of this rifle. And it strikes Rudy, and Rudy screams in a way that none of you have ever heard from her. And after a moment, she's just gone.
Whoa!
Rudy, I'm sorry. You were just vaporized.
Wow. Okay. Well, there you go.
Yeah. Who's going to pilot the
Holy
engineer's
mackerel.
ship now? Shit. Sorry.
Nobody.
Rudy. Wow. Okay. That. Well, there's another 2 to happen. There is another 2 to happen. And as you guys look, a Yautja decloaks right behind the engineer. Jake, make a quick observation roll. I'm not going to cost you an action. Just make an observation roll.
Sounds about right.
All right. Make your panic roll. Okay, holding it together. You recognize him, believe it or not. He's carrying a spear, and you guys have seen a couple of these things already, and they all seem to carry these spears. There is a particular skull that is hanging from a chain or something along those lines around this spear, and you realize you have seen this exact Yautja before, all the way back on Alpha Kaseya 2. Way back at the start of all this, when you guys went back the second time, the first time you ever saw anything resembling a xenomorph or a Yautja. Now, you already made a panic roll as a result of the observation, so I'm not going to have you make another one. Because technically a Yautja decloaking is cause for a panic roll. Dwayne, you're way back there, so I'm not necessarily sure you saw that. I'm going to give you
Look,
a
everybody,
pass
Yautja!
on it. Hey, Sharif. Yeah, like,
Yo.
who would you like to take over? Would you like to take over Rose or one of the SSI guys?
Oh, no preference. Whatever's easiest.
I'll just
Whatever
give you
works
Rose
best.
if that's okay.
Sure.
All right.
Whichever one has got a higher gun skill, maybe.
Well, the SSI guys are definitely higher when it comes to that. Sorry about that, Rudy.
That's okay.
It happens.
It does happen. Where are we? Annika Rudat, Crom. Oh shoot. You should see Rose Whitehill in your character sheet, yeah? You should have access to her.
Looking. 1 second. Yes.
Okay. All right, very good. And then I'm actually, because I feel kind of bad about that, and because you're no longer an NPC, I'm going to do you a solid and issue Rose a different, oops, there's the ones I already used, a different initiative card. Um, which
She appears to be wounded. 1, 2, 3 health.
no, she only has 3 health. Her strength is 3.
So should I take these wounds off her?
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's right, because you gotta set her max as 3. Well, wait a minute, that didn't do it right. Well, I'll let you figure that out. There we go. There we go. All right. All right. Well, she actually ended up pulling a 1, which would have had her act already. So I'm just going to put her on a 4 right after Dwayne, since Dwayne's at a 4. So let me edit Rose at a 4, and then I need to I'll put it on Hicks for the SSI guys. Where's Hicks? Where's Hicks?
Hachi, I thought the bad guy had a 2 and a 4.
He does have a 2 and a 4. So I'm going like, oh, you're right. He does have a 2 and a 4. Damn it all. All right, so we'll put Rose on a 5. Good job. You just asked the teacher for homework. Well done. Well done. Hicks initiative card 10. Submit. All right, perfect. And let me sort ascending. Very good. All right. Dwayne Dunning, you are on a 3. What would you like to do, Dwayne?
Is Dwayne muted?
I will. No, I'm thinking. I guess I will
I thought he was
aim.
talking, yeah. Go ahead.
I guess I will aim and fire my AR
Okay.
at the bad guy.
At the engineer.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Theoretically, I can't really. I wouldn't. Well, I'm not going to shoot at the Yautja, but I can't really see him. He's behind the guy.
So you are at medium range, which is a -1. Aiming gives you a +2. So your overall gain is +1.
All right. So
What? I forgot something.
What?
Everyone gain a point of stress and make a panic roll for seeing one of your friends broken or outright vaporized.
Oh my. Okay.
Fair. I'll give you that one. Fair.
Jake is somehow holding it together. I would think seeing Rudy get vaporized just outright.
She has an armor of 6. How come is that?
Because you roll the 6 armor dice and you have to get a number of successes equal to the damage of the weapon.
No. I'm sorry. Rose has an armor value of 6.
Because she's wearing Strat Soul armor as well.
Is it 6? Because mine was 5.
No, it is 6. It is. No, it is 5. You're right. I'm sorry. It should be 5 armor, so that's correct. Dwayne, I've got 2 panic rolls for you.
Yeah, I rolled the first one, but I realized that I had increased the stress level twice.
Oh, okay.
So I fixed it and rolled again.
Well, that's fine. Either way, you'd have held it together, and Rose holds it together as well. All right, so you're all holding it together despite
watching our good pal disappear.
Yeah, just.
In retrospect, it was only a android, so we're holding it together.
Oh man.
So no stress for you, Bob.
That's cold, buddy.
Oh wow, that's rough. Okay.
All right. So now
make your attack roll.
And I get +1, right?
Correct.
All right. Let me see if I hold it before I get carried away. I have weapon specialist on the AR-40, so I got +2 for that. So I have 2 for that plus 2 to aim -1. Is that what you said?
Yes.
So that's 3. All right.
One success.
All right.
2 damage armor piercing. That is, unless you want to push the roll. You're welcome to do that if you like.
Not at this time.
All right, very good.
Oh, jeez.
Your rounds ricochet off of his biomechanical suit. And then we're on number 4, which are the bad guys. I've got 2 bad guys here, so even the Yautja will go first, odd the engineer will go first. Even the Yautja goes first. Our Yautja, who is known as Silent Pike, is going to well, he's a weapon specialist with his combi stick, so that's what he's going to do. It just makes the most sense. He is going to attack the engineer from behind. And he gets 2 successes, so he does 4 damage against the engineer's armor. Oh, shit.
Holy mackerel.
Yeah, yeah, so his wow. His attack skates off the back of the engineer's armor. Engineer, suddenly realizing he's just been hit from behind, probably turns to face the Yautja. And I think he attacks the Yautja. Of course, he's in engaged range, so he's going to get less dice. He's going to fire his rifle at the... My dice roller keeps disappearing. At the Yautja at engaged range. And he hits the Yautja. Silent Pike gets his armor roll. All right, and so he fires his rifle at the Yautja. The Yautja kind of takes the hit on one of the armor plates on his shoulder, and he does not seem to get vaporized. Amazingly. All right, so who's that was number 4. So we're on Rose. What would Rose like to do?
She will shoot at the alien.
At
the big guy.
The engineer?
The engineer.
All right.
So, ranged combat. I don't know if she gets any.
She's got a Strat-Sol SMG, does she not? Which
SMG 20.
Yeah, pretty good bonus.
Do I need to put anything in modifiers for her? She's just straight.
No, you just click the attack button on the weapon itself, and it adds
the
bonus
weapon
for the weapon.
Okay, I was doing ranged combat.
Because her
attack. Yeah, she's got a bonus of 3.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because she's got some really good talents, so you might want to take a look at that. So you have 1 success and a panic. Roll your panic, please. A 3. Ooh, you're holding it together. You hit. You do 1 point of damage. Bullets ricochet because that weapon's not armor piercing. So the small caliber submachine gun rolls, submachine gun rounds bounce off the back. Oh, and because you panicked, do I not have the talent descriptions filled in on the character sheet?
Negative.
Oh shit! I'm sorry.
That's okay. I can look them up in the book.
Okay, that's fine. I'll let you handle that. Then.
It'll just take me a few minutes to read up on them.
Okay, very good. Very good. Because you panicked, you emptied your clip, so you'll have to reload before you can shoot it again. Jake Sinclair, what would Jake like to do?
Jake will fire at the engineer.
All right. You are at short range, so there's no penalty or modifier in any way. Just fire away.
If I use my, minor action or to aim?
Yep, that gives you +2.
So we do range combat, modifier 2, submit.
Roll your panic. holding it together, but you do unload your clip, so you'll have to reload and spend a reload. But you have 3 successes, so you do 2 damage armor piercing. What do you want to do with your bonus successes?
More damage.
So 4 damage total.
Yes.
All right, very good. Armor piercing round, armor roll. The engineer has finally taken damage, ladies and gentlemen. Jake blasts away with his AR. Jake, the badass scientist that he is, unloads with an assault rifle into the back of the engineer. And when he does so, the rounds actually penetrate the biomechanical suit that he's wearing, and a bluish blood starts to drip out of the wounds.
And I just nod in acknowledgement to the Yautja.
Hey, buddy, we're on your side. Don't shoot at us.
Let me remind you of one thing for the future there, Jakey, and that is if you have a close combat extra success, you can trade initiative cards with the target.
Close and range. Yep. You can do that.
Right. Cool. Thank you.
So let's do this. So now we're up to 10, which is Hicks and the 2 SSI guys. So we will let Hicks fire first, and we will go from there. I gotta find Hicks' character sheet. He's in scenario 4. There he is. All right. Hicks has no talents that directly impact this, so we will. I think Hicks will aim and fire. 2 successes and a panic, which he's technically an NPC, so I'm not going to have him panic, but I will have him. Unload his clip. I won't do a panic roll. Well, no. Let's just keep it in the spirit of things. What the hell? Where's the panic button on this thing? There it is. 6, holding it together. He's fine. What do you guys want him to do with his 2 extra successes? Otherwise, I'll just load it into damage.
Probably not a bad idea.
Alright, so we'll just have him do 4 damage. And...
He's an NPC, right?
Well, yes and no.
Yes and no. Oh, that's right, because you were playing for somebody today. Okay, yeah. Gotcha.
The engineer's armor is finally not holding up against the armor-piercing rounds of these Strat-Sol assault rifles. They're pretty handy little weapons, it would appear. And then SSI guys will attack as well. 1 success and 2 successes. First one, second one. So he takes 2 more points of damage all total. Yep. Wow. He's not doing well. He is the engineer is bleeding from numerous wounds from your assault rifle fire. And that brings us to the top of the round, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's still facing the Yautja?
He's still, yeah. So that gets us to a 2, which are the Yautja and the engineer. So on odd, on even, the Yautja goes first. On odd, the engineer goes first. The engineer is going to fire at his rifle at the Yautja. And he has a success. Silent Pike needs to hope his armor holds up. Running multiple characters can be a little challenging with Roll20. Not gonna lie. Wow. All right. Well, his armor, on the other hand, though, it is. I mean, it is. The armor does seem to be degrading, and I wouldn't use the word melting away. It just is just, for lack of a better word, it's just vaporizing. But he's hanging in there. Silent Pike. Silent Pike, sensing that the end is nigh for his enemy, is going to go for an honor kill. Because that's just what he's going to do. Alright. The engineer gets to make an opposed roll. Oh. You guys watch in, I would dare say, abject terror as the Yautja, which is almost as tall as this engineer, reaches forward, grabs a hold of both sides of the engineer's head. The engineer's mouth opens, and it shouts something that none of you understand for obvious reasons. And there is a cracking of bone as its head twists to the side. And the Yautja lifts up and tears the head and spinal column straight out of the engineer's body. Holds it up in the air and lets loose, an absolutely terrifying scream as it does so. Something like and the body falls. The rest of the body falls lifelessly to the side. This dark blue blood just pouring onto the ground. You mean kill steal? Gain a point of stress and make a panic roll, everybody, please. Man, you guys are cool as cucumbers. That is crazy.
Well, it's not our first rodeo.
Yeah, it's a true statement. And I think most of you have nerves of steel at this point. All right.
Nerves of guacamole.
Yeah. Dwayne Dunning, it is your turn. What would you like to do?
I'm going to take an overwatch position, but I'm not going to attack the Yautja unless the Yautja attacks us.
All right. Very good. That is perfectly fine. And that gets us to Silent Pike. Silent Pike. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to give him an observation roll.
Wow. Wow.
So his you guys have seen it. You guys have seen this before. His aiming device, activates from his helmet, and he shines it over pretty much all of you, like one after the other, and then he deactivates it, and he turns and starts heading out the spherical door. Rose Whitehill.
The muted Rose Whitehill.
Sorry about that, guys. I'm still having problems with smashing the tilde key and it not working. Yeah, it's my turn to.
Yeah.
To let him go.
Yeah, I'm not going to do anything to provoke him. But I was just thinking, what's the plan now? Because we can't take the ship anywhere. The pilot and the key are gone.
I would say we follow our tracks backtrack, and get out of here.
I mean, there's no reason to continue, really. We can't do anything with it.
No.
No, let's strip this engineer body for anything that might be worth it, and that we could research or help the cause, and then we get out of here.
Yeah, I second that.
Weapon that we are not up to fighting that.
There's nothing else we can do.
There's nothing else to do.
So as I guess Jake, since you said search the engineer body, I'll let you make an observation roll on that. Obviously you guys have the lift going up into the ship, but you don't even see a way to operate it. You probably have the feeling that you would need the flute and someone who knew how to use it in order to operate the lift even.
Yeah, I assumed we'd need Rudy to operate the lift.
Yeah, and you would definitely get that impression. The door closes or rolls around and closes as you see the Yautja goes into cloak again as the door closes behind him, and he's gone. Jake, did you want to make that observation roll?
I am reminded of the.
Jake will use his breakthrough and automatically pass this observation roll.
Very good. I like it. I'm sorry. What was that? Well, now Rose.
I'm reminded of the poetic wisdom found in the movie Young Guns when he says, "How come they ain't killing us?" When the scout's just walking away. Because we're in the spirit world. Anyway, I'm sorry.
That's okay. So you really wish the biosuit was in better condition, but it's just from all the assault rifle rounds, it's just ruined. There might be some value from there might be some value from taking biological samples from the corpse itself, but then there's this rifle, which, relatively speaking, it was the same size to the 10-foot tall giant as one of these ARs is to one of you guys. So this thing's pretty huge. It's it's a good 6 foot long, and it seems to be made of the same type of material that all their technology is, something metallic, but with a definite. You definitely would need to run some tests on it, but you do have this rifle if you can figure out how to use it without
Is it pretty heavy?
surprising yourself. Shockingly, no. It weighs very little. It weighs very little.
So for encumbrance, it isn't even a 1?
No, it'd still be a 1 item.
Okay.
Grab the gun, grab the head, and retrace our steps.
Oh no, the head's gone.
The head's gone.
Took it with him.
That was his trophy. He took the head and spine with him.
Fine, we'll take the hands.
Weird.
This is, I think, the second time you've taken hands.
This is getting very Frankenstein-like.
All right, as you're doing that, coming across your comms is a whispered voice. Magellan, respond. SS Magellan, respond. Is anyone there? It's
Price.
Colonel Price's voice. It's whispered.
price to go for Magellan?
So I'm not exactly sure where I am, but I'm encased in this. I'm encased in this. I don't know, this resin or something stuck on a wall. There's xenomorphs everywhere. There's some kind of activity. I've been awake for a while now, but all of a sudden they've started moving around quite a bit. Where are you guys?
We've just been waylaid by a Yautja and engineer almost at the entrance. And we basically got downed here. We've got a man down. We need to evac.
He says, I think I'm somewhere further in the cave system. I can get myself free, but not without drawing attention.
Right.
What about your
Well,
what about your what about your Marines? Can you see them?
Yeah, there's a few of them here. Some of them are dead. But I'm the only one that looks like he's conscious. Because, Jesus, there's these egg things everywhere.
we'll try and get a bomb or something rigged to get their attention, and then if we can manage a diversion, then you can see if you can get out.
He says, all right, I'm standing by. Whoa, you all right?
Some coffee went down the wrong way.
So go ahead, Jake.
My suggestion is we get back to the lifeboat, see if we can damage or blow up that engineer ship, and hopefully that will cause a distraction that the Marines need, but that's about all we can do for them.
Input from Rose or Dwayne?
Well, I'd love to try and save him, but I think we'll all just die trying to get him.
Yeah, Rose agrees with that. They need to expect a self-rescue. We can't get them.
Hicks holds his ARM computer out a little bit, like this, and says, "This is derived from Yautja technology. It's got a small nuclear device in it. Land us back on the plateau. I can set it to explode."
You might have wanted to mention that earlier, that you're carrying around a small tactical nuke. Just saying, next time around.
Well, I guess we want to create a diversion so that Price can try and get loose, but we don't want to blow him up. Hey, I think it's the only thing we can do. I think that's a plan, and we let Price know that we're going to try and set off a diversion, and he's on his own to try and get loose.
I mean, that's basically what we did, but to be honest...
Won't this kill Price?
Well...
Hicks says, I don't think so. I think if we plant the explosion on the top of the plateau, I no telling what damage it could cause into the cave system, but it will tend to explode upward and outward. So depending on.
Well, that might be true, but when the ship explodes, what's that going to do?
Well, to be honest, does it really matter? We've got no other way, and at least that might give him some breathing room. But he's dead either way.
If we wade into the cave complex with a bunch of xenomorphs, we won't make it. I mean, all of us against one or two, fine.
I guess I should restate what's behind my thoughts here is our best pilot has a 5.
Yeah.
So maybe we should just set off the thing here and take off.
Tansy, you're a pilot on Magellan. Comes over at comms and says, guys, there's you know that big ship that we saw earlier that blew the Marines in half? It's back. It's entering the atmosphere.
We need to beat feet out of here.
I agree.
All right, so let's
just leave it here and run.
Let's make. Yeah, how far do we? Remind me how far we have to go to get back to our lifeboat.
You guys parked the lifeboat right outside the main cave entrance, so you're talking 4 or 5 zones. It's not that far.
All right, so you guys are counting on me to pilot us out of here. You know, if we set this device to go off and then I fail my piloting role, we could be in for a very hot time of it.
What's the worst that could happen? All
right, let's do it.
So you guys are running back through.
Hold it. Is Hicks going to set up are we going to set off the device here in the cave?
That was the plan, right?
All right, yeah. So Hicks is setting that up. All right. Yes,
as you guys are running through, you come through the big rolly door, and here I'm just gonna kill dynamic lighting for this. Give me 1 second. You guys should see everything, even though there's parts of the map that you haven't been through, but that's okay.
We don't plan on going there anyway.
As you guys come through that door into the cave, part of the cave that's number 5, you hear a very familiar hissing, and there's 2 xenomorphs to your left coming out of the larger cave complex. They are at short range. They are not at engaged range. So I'm going to deal initiative cards, and you guys can decide how you want to handle this. The delay on the bomb is about a minute. Well, it's 1 minute, which it was 1, 2. You are 30 seconds in, so you have 3 rounds before that thing goes off.
Quick question.
Yes, please.
Was it room number 5 that we set the turrets up in?
At the entrance to room number 5.
So they could help us?
If the xenomorphs come any closer, they will help. All right. Here we go. Rose, you ready? Oh, wait, Wayne, I start with you because you get 2 and you go first, right?
Correct.
All right. So, okay, look, I'm shuffling.
Yeah, I gotcha.
Dwayne, you are a 5 and a 10. You want the 5?
Yeah.
Yep. All right. If you would add that to the initiative order for me.
Yeah, I'll take care of it.
Rudy, you are a 2. Or not Rudy, I'm sorry, Rose now. That's going to take some getting used to. Let's see. Okay. Where's my counter? There's my counter. Oh, I need to clear the counter. Well, I don't need to clear the counter. Wait a minute. Nobody do anything. Everyone just hold on. Everyone calm down. Because I can just edit it right here. Dwayne is a 5. Right? No, you're a 2. No, you're a 5. Rudy's a 2. Rose is a 2. Damn it. Killing characters is a terrible thing. I can't remember who's who. Jake, you're an 8. The NPCs are a 9. NPCs have the worst luck. And the aliens, I need to switch. Don't I have a character sheet for those guys? I believe I have a character sheet for those guys. I do have a character sheet for those guys. Look at that. I'm so smart. All right. The aliens.
1 and 2.
What's that?
1 and 2.
1 and 7. Not 1 and 2, just 1 and 7. Initiative card 1 and initiative card 7. All right, very good. And we are going to put in ascending order, and so it begins. To quote the great Theoden King. I'm going to put the 2 SSA guys on the map just so that we've got everybody. Oh, anyone who had to reload your weapon, don't forget to take off a reload. I think that was Jake and Rose.
Yep.
Yep. All right. So, the xenomorph drones are going to go first. I've got everyone on the map. So I'm just going to go. SSI guys are 1 and 2. Hicks is a 3. Jake's a 4. Dwayne's a 5. Rose is a 6. So they are going for. They're going for an SSI guy, and they're going for Rose. All right. The attack against SSI is a hypnotizing gaze. Which really doesn't mean anything. So the thing seems to, obviously they move into engaged range with you guys, and the first one goes after one of the SSI security personnel, and it just kind of looms there, turns its head, it almost seems to be looking at him. And he's an NPC, so the effects really don't matter. The other one is attacking Rose. It makes a deadly grab. It has 1 success. Now, Rose, you have not acted yet. So you can make a close combat roll to block.
Rose has flyweight, which she can use agility instead of strength for that.
Correct. So
is it just a straight agility roll, or
No, you still add the close combat score.
I don't understand.
It's a talent called flyweight that when making a close combat roll, they can substitute agility instead of strength.
Oh, so you take.
I guess my question is
plus the agility. That's the number of dice.
Should I just do agility roll and then add
and
my
then
close
just add
combat?
your close combat score. That would be fine.
Okay.
You just need 1 success to block it. Ooh, look at Rose go. So it tries to wrap its hands around you with some sort of deadly intent, maybe to drag you away for the hive. You're not sure, and using your SMG, you bat its hands away. Very good, Rose. Look at you go. All right. Next on the initiative is Rose Whitehill. This is and remember, this is round 1 of 3. At the end of round 3, the bomb will go off. What would you like to do, Rose?
I'm going to shoot this thing in the face.
Okay. All right, so that is a close combat roll at engaged range, which is a -3 penalty.
So just attack roll -3, basically?
The attack roll on the weapon, yeah. 1 success. Do you want to push the roll or leave it the way it is?
I believe I will push. Why not?
Go ahead. Wow. I can answer the why not for for you, but
So now I just want to make sure I'm doing this right. I give myself a stress. I hit close combat again, and now it would be
or not close combat, but just hit the attack button on the weapon.
okay. Yeah, that's what I meant. Sorry. And then so is it still -3 for this second roll?
Technically, it is. Oh yeah. It's -3, and then the weapons +3. So yeah, you put -3 in there because you're still at engaged range.
And you were only with Sully for like a month, so that's like terrible.
All right, so you have a total of 4 successes, but you also have 2 panics.
Right? Is that about right?
Wow.
So you unload your SMG into this thing. Make your panic roll, please. A 7, which it doesn't have panic effects turned on. Real quick, what's a 7? Anybody know?
I'm sorry, I don't know.
I got it.
Nervous twitch.
Your stress level and stress levels of all PCs in short range, which is everybody, goes up 1
Ding.
as you twitch from this thing attacking you and your response to shoot back at it. You do 1 damage and you have 3 bonus successes. What would you like to do with your bonus successes?
That's all damage, baby.
Okay, you have my
All right.
sweatshirt.
And I'm going to jump Hicks's stress up. All right, so you do 4 damage. It makes an armor roll, and it soaks 3 of it. So you do 1 damage.
That was my best shot.
All right, and we'll say that's this guy. He's right here next to you. And then there's acid splash because you heard it. All right, it does 2 points of acid damage to everybody. So if I could get armor rolls from everybody, please. All right, so Rose, you take 1 damage, and you gain a point of stress.
What happens to her armor? Anything?
No, because it's already down to a 5, so it doesn't degrade any further.
Gotcha.
Dwayne and Jake, unfortunately, your armor absorbed none of it, so you each take 2 damage and gain a point of stress. Oh, Dwayne, you still get to make your strength roll. Because you have skin of steel, apparently. All right.
None of those panic dice count.
No, they don't. You're right. So you take 2 points of damage. His skin of steel, it's no longer succeeding, unfortunately. Dwayne's armor absorbs 1. He takes 1 point of damage. And gains a point of stress. And then the SSI guys, where are they? There they are. Armor and armor. Alright, they each take a point of damage. Alright, so they're at 3 and 3. Alright, very good. That brings us up to Dwayne Dunning. Dwayne, what would you like to do?
All right. Well, I have a question about game mechanics.
Okay.
I have my AR in my hands. If I want to switch to my incinerator unit, is that a fast or a slow?
It is, well, that's a good question. It's been such a long time since I've done that. One moment. Drawing a weapon is a fast action, so switching is a fast.
Okay. All right, and I don't have the because it's not my normal weapon. I don't have the incinerator unit. I don't have it coded in. So, what's the damage on the incinerator unit?
It's 0 bonus, 2 damage. Also, if your hit is successful, it it submits the zone to fire intensity 9. So basically, we would roll 9 fire dice, and every success, everyone and everything in the zone will take that much fire damage at the end of the round.
Yeah, so that's a non-starter. I can't set everybody on fire. All right, I'll just aim and fire my AR-40.
All right, so you've got -3 for the engaged range. Are you shooting
Yeah.
at the one that Rose wounded?
Correct.
Okay.
So that's -3, but I get...
You get a total of +4, I believe.
I had plus... Yeah, well, the bonus already gets calculated in the thing, so...
Okay.
At least it's supposed to. So, is this... All right, so let me hit attack, and it'll be a -1 net if he does the bonus right. So let's see how many dice it rolls and see if it did it right. It did it right.
That's a lot of dice.
I'm going to push.
All right. Gain a point of panic and roll away. Or point of stress, you know what I meant. Oh, man. All right, 2 damage, armor piercing. And where's my... where the hell did my drone go? There he is. 2 damage, armor piercing, which drops his armor to... Oh, shit. Well, he had no successes anyway, so it takes 2 damage. Unfortunately. Then...
Guys, the doctor's calling. Sorry, I got to take that. I'll be right back.
Oh my God.
All right. So, can I get armor rolls, please? All right, Jake, your armor absorbs 1 damage, which drops your armor to 5, and then you take 3 damage. You still up, or are you broken?
I'm broken. Don't we have the acid immune armor on?
It drops down 1 point the first time it absorbs
Oh,
acid
right,
damage, but it won't go down any further than that. Would you please roll your critical injury for me? $43. Okay.
That's a bit high.
It could be worse. Crushed elbow. You can't use one of your arms. So if you would just roll even his right arm, odd his left arm, just roll a die. Which does mean you won't be able to use your AR. So, all right. So because it requires 2 hands. All right. Dwayne, your armor absorbed 1, so knock your armor down to 5, and then you still get to make your strength roll. Strength absorbed nothing, so you take 3 damage, and your stress goes up. Oh, don't forget, your stress goes up as well, Jake. All right, while we're still waiting on Sharif, I will make the rolls for Hicks. Hicks' armor's already at a 5. There it goes. Ooh. Hicks takes 4 damage. Fortunately, he's tough as hell. And then I've got the 2 SSI guys, both of whom's armor is already down to 5. One takes 3, and the other takes 2. Oh boy. Oh boy. D66. Ooh. One of the SSI guys goes down screaming as acid just, acid spraying everywhere over all of you. One of his arms is just melting clean off. Yeah, it's not looking good for him. And then I guess I'll go ahead and roll for Rose since Sharif's on the dealing what he needs to deal with. Rose, armor, go. Oh shit. Rose is broken. What's a 51? Oh, Rose has a busted kidney.
Ooh, that's bad.
And if she's not treated, she will die in one day. She cannot run. Well, of course, she's broken anyway, so she can only crawl. And all her mobility rolls are made at a -2. So we will let Sharif know when he gets back. That puts the xenomorphs. This guy is basically done for. The xenomorph is going to continue to attack the SSI guy that he was attacking, because it just makes perfect sense to me that he would continue to do that, or it would continue to do that. Target is knocked to the ground, drops all handheld items. So this xenomorph, I'm just going to take him off to the side because he's broken, probably to die. This xenomorph knocks this guy down, and his AR-40 goes clattering out of his hands, but he doesn't take any damage. And then this other one's going to go for one of you other guys because Rose is already broken. He's going to go for Hicks. All right. So he moves over and attacks Hicks with its tail. Hicks is not acted yet. Hicks is going to make a close combat roll to try to block.
Wow.
I'm back.
All right. He was unable to block, so his armor's just going to have to. His armor. All right. So Hicks. Yeah. Oh my God. This is where it starts to get bad. Doesn't tell me what a 10 is. That's right. There's a thing in the settings on the character sheet you got to click so it shows you what that stuff is, right?
Yeah.
All right. Hicks is also broken. Oh shit. Okay. So here's what happened, Rudy, or I'm sorry, Rose.
Did that really just happen? Did Hicks just really roll a 66 on a D66?
Hicks just really rolled a 66.
He's gone.
Well, I have a trump card. I have the old GM trump card, and
Why does Hicks get a trump card? What the heck?
Except, you know what? Yeah, no. Unfortunately, it doesn't make sense because of the way this played out. So here's what happened while you were gone, Rose. The one you shot, Dwayne shot, very successfully wounded very badly, and it sprayed acid all over everybody. One of the SSI guys is basically dead. You, Rose, got broken with a busted kidney. You got broken with a busted kidney, which means you will die in a day if you're not treated. More importantly, all you can do right now is crawl. Hicks, oh, and I'm sorry, Jake is also broken. He has a crushed elbow. And then Hicks got attacked. It did a capture for the hive where it stabs with a tail. Unfortunately, it only does 1 point of damage, but Hicks only 1 point of health left. So and he missed his block, which caused him to take 1 point of damage, breaking him, and the tail stabbed Hicks right through the heart. And wow, that's unfortunate. There is a whoosh, a huge, loud, roaring, whooshing sound from outside the cave as something large blocks out the light for just a moment. And then a figure shows up. It was supposed to be somebody else, but you guys screwed me up a little bit on that one. So instead, it's going to be, except I can't find the icon. So I'm going to have to do something else. I'm sorry, bear with me a second. I didn't realize I didn't have this icon handy, so I've got to pop her in this way. Except I can't resize her. There she goes. Fast action to jump out of the ship, and a slow action to fire her weapon. This... Did it roll? It did roll. There we go. The armored form of Ellen Ripley pulls out a... she's got this strange glove thing on her hand, and it fires, and I need to see who it affects. It affects this guy. This net fans out from the glove and hits this xenomorph, and the xenomorph goes flying all the way over back into this part of the cave, where the edges of the net seem to embed itself into the cave floor, maybe up against a stalagmite, and the net starts to tighten as this xenomorph screams in pain, and blood starts, the green acid blood starts showing up in a crisscross form across its carapace. All right. Jake, it is your turn, I believe.
I think all I can do is crawl, so I'll just crawl towards the exit.
All right. So I'll let you move basically one square over.
Don't we have defense guns at the exit?
You do.
But we're not close enough for them to do anything, right?
Well, you do. The problem is that if they fire at this guy who's in engaged range, he's going to spray more acid on everybody. So let's just say he's just out of range, because I don't think that's the right move, unfortunately. And I accidentally deleted my NPCs who go on a 10. This guy is going to make a close combat roll and try to push away the xenomorph, because that is something you can do.
Yeah, that's what I should have done last time. That was a mistake.
And he failed.
Oh, well.
He pushes up against the xenomorph, and it just snarls at him, completely unimpressed by his inability to do anything. The xenomorphs, this thing cannot move. It is screaming as this net just you hear its carapace start to crack as the net is going through it. The other one is going to attack the same SSI guy he's been attacking this entire time. And okay, he knocks him down again. Sometimes it doesn't always work out the way you want it to. Okay, who are we on to next? We're on to Rose. Rose, you are broken. All you can do is crawl.
Crawling.
All right, crawling away. Dwayne.
Dunning?
Yep. Yeah, Hicks is dead, unfortunately.
I can try and push this thing away with my fast action, right?
You can.
All right. Open up my character sheet again.
Close combat roll. And the bomb goes off at the end of next round.
Yep, I'm aware of that.
2 successes and a panic. Would you roll your panic, please?
Hold on. Gotta go up to it. There we go.
Oh, wow. That Nerves of Steel is worth its weight in absolute gold. All right. So, yeah, you successfully push this thing away. It staggers back against the massive mountain of a man that is Dwayne Dunning. So it is a zone away from you now. You have a slow
Okay.
action.
Well, I have an extra success, right? On close combat.
You do have a close combat success. That is correct.
So I'm going to trade initiative cards. Doesn't the target have a 1?
The target has a 1.
I'm going to trade. Take his 1 for my 5.
All right, that works. You can do that.
All
Absolutely.
right. And now he's 1 zone away, so I'm going to shoot him with my AR.
Okay.
And what's the penalty? If he's a zone away, is there a penalty?
No. It's closer. It's close range, which is no penalty.
Okay.
All right, you have 2 successes and a panic. Roll your panic, please. Keeping it together. You did unload your weapon, however.
I understand. All damage, please.
All right, so 3 damage against its armor, which is completely unsuccessful. So it is at a 4. All right, so, and that brings us back to the drone, which, with its single-mindedness, it's going to attack the same guy it's been going after the whole time. It grabs its victims, its inner jaws extending for the kill. The victim and all friendly characters in the same zone must make a panic roll. He is grappled and cannot act until he breaks free. Close combat against 10 dice. So everyone make a panic roll, please, as the xenomorph comes and grabs him. You are trembling uncontrollably, -2 to your agility rolls.
Okay.
Rose and Jake are keeping it together, even though, well, Rose actually, Rose, that's the nervous twitch, I believe. So everyone gains a point of stress.
Oh,
It gets better by the moment. Jake, crawling towards the exit.
Yep, Jake is crawling.
All right. All right. Ripley, shit. You get the impression that she takes a long look at the unmoving form of Dwayne Hicks with the gaping hole in his armor right through his chest. And instead, she is going to pick up, even it's Jake, odd it's Rose. Even it's Jake. She picks up Jake, and then she is going to move out of the cave towards the ship. I guess I do need to make her make a mobility roll for that. Where is Where is she? 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 There she is.
So she picked up Hicks's body?
No, she picked up Jake.
Picked up Jake. Oh, okay.
Because unfortunately, she knows Hicks is dead. Yep, so she is successful at that. And that brings us to the top of the round, which is Dwayne Dunning.
All right, so I need to reassess what's going on here. We got Rose, who's crawling towards the exit.
Yep. But she
We
will
got
not
it.
make it in time.
To the exit.
Yep.
Oh, I get that. Hicks is dead.
Yep.
We have an SSI guy that's toast.
Yep. And the other one that's probably about to be toast in a moment.
Yeah, but he's still... Is he broken or...
No, he's not broken, but he's been grabbed by the xenomorph and...
Right,
yeah.
I understand. He's in his grip.
Yeah.
All right. So, I guess that leaves me to grab Rose and make my way for the exit.
All right. Make a mobility roll, please, sir.
And I have to do a -2.
You do have to do a -2. Story point. Sorry.
Hold on a second. You didn't even give me a chance.
I find players forget about their story
I
points.
didn't forget. I was just laying down my options before I used my story point. Because last time I didn't waste it. Anyway, there were a couple sessions where I didn't use it when I could have.
All right.
Yes, I'll use my story point to get a success.
All right.
Because I was looking at my dice. If I took my mobility with agility is 5, -2 is 3, there was no chance in hell I was going to do it.
Well, you might have gotten successes with all those stress dice, but
Well,
something
and
else could have happened.
Something else could have happened, and see, I could have used my story point after the fact, but I was worried the stress result might.
Dwayne tosses
All right.
Rose over his, or picks her up in his arms and goes charging for the exit after Ripley and Jake. As you glance over your shoulder and you see the xenomorph's inner jaws come out and punch right through the head of this poor bastard, and he's dead. The xenomorph screams after you as you guys leave. Magellan is actually lifting off. Ripley just it got low enough that Ripley basically just jumped out and charged in. So the lifeboat's there.
So the Magellan's leaving without me.
Well, the lifeboat's sitting right there. The Magellan didn't even completely land.
Right.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's flying away.
Yeah. So Ripley is running for the lifeboat.
Oh, okay. And I'm
It's right there. You're right behind her.
Yeah.
And as you guys are charging up the ramp into the lifeboat, you hear your sentry guns going off and the screams of the other xenomorph as it's ripped apart by the armor-piercing rounds from the sentry guns. And then as you get up into the lifeboat, you hear a deep, far-off explosion, and the whole ground is starting to shake.
Who has? All right, I have a question. How many piloting dice does Ripley have? Because we know her history.
4.
She only has 4.
She only has 4.
Oh my! I would have expected her to have more. Okay. I'm gonna. Well, I have no choice. I'm gonna let Ripley make sure the hatches are closing. I'm gonna dump my load, my dead weight. I'm gonna dump my dead weight and get to the piloting chair and try and take this sucker off.
Okay. All right. I'm going to let Ripley take an action.
Okay.
I'm going to have her command you to hold it together, to calm down. And she had 1 success, so your panic ends. So that -2 to agility is gone.
Okay.
All right. So if you want to get the ship up and running and taken off and flown away, please make your piloting roll.
All right. Did it do anything to my stress level?
No, it just simply canceled out the panic.
Whew, this could be ugly.
There's loads of nap relief around. Just saying.
A success, but you have a panic. Roll the panic, please.
Ah.
You still have a trump card.
Yep. I know I do. I'll use another story point.
Dwayne, realizing that he's not a pilot at the last moment, has to fight every urge to just run and hide as everything starts to shake from that nuclear explosion going off down in the caves. But he pulls his shit together and gets the ship up in the air and hits the thrusters just as a gout of flame and explosions and shock waves starts coming out of the mouth of the cave system. As you are flying through the air, behind you're flying probably a kilometer or two behind Magellan, which had started heading off before you. You see that massive ship break through the cloud cover. Well, actually, you know what? I'm sorry. That's a poor description. Massive means a lot of things, but it's the Yautja ship
That we've already
that
seen.
you've already seen. Yeah, as it bursts through the cloud cover. It doesn't seem to care about the two of you. It heads past you, presumably towards the plateau, which is starting to cave in on itself. As you guys start breaking into the upper atmosphere, Newt is coming over the radio, calling for Ripley. Ripley, is everyone okay? Is Hicks okay? And Ripley is not. She's pulled her helmet off, and she says, "God damn it! I told him to come back alive."
Newt, can you put Tansy on? I need a vector so that we can come aboard.
Tansy comes on the line with her Irish accent, and she says, "Let's just get into space, and then cut all thrust and let me handle it. I've seen your piloting." Do you have wounded?
That is affirmative.
All right.
We have two, right?
Yeah, you have two people that are broken. That's correct.
Yeah, we have two in need of immediate care.
Dr. Khan will be waiting for you at the lifeboat's airlock as soon as you dock. So as you guys make it into space, you do as you're told, and Tansy, the consummate professional and excellent pilot that she is, lines you guys up and pulls in the lifeboat, sets the docking clamps. True to her word, Dr. Khan is right there, along with Newt and Gurney's. She looks at Jake and realizes that his crushed elbow is probably not life-threatening at this exact moment in time. So instead, she focuses her attention on Rose, who has the busted kidney. Um, Rose will Rose is going to recover. Uh, she'll be good to go in about a week, and Jake will have use of his arm in about 2. But you guys survived it, such as it was, and yet
Wow.
you realize that you have blasted off from Vorach 5 with none of the things that you hope to leave with, except your own personal experiences, but no engineered ship, no technology, except for the stone spheres that Jake grabbed in his backpack.
And the hands
Oh,
of
and the
an
hands.
engineer.
And the jazz hands.
The jazz hands.
Oh, you got the rifle. You did get the rifle too,
And the rifle.
but you
Yeah.
didn't. You didn't get the ship. Didn't get the ship.
Well, yeah. And we lost Rudy
And Hicks.
and Hicks. And now we don't know where we can go because can't go to Grendel. I suppose we could go back to Grendel. Someone might arrest us, but what are they going to do with us after what we've been through? It'd be a vacation. Oh my.
Yeah, and you've got Verhoeven over on a backwater UA colony planet with the last remaining SSI security personnel.
So maybe we'll go hang out there for a while and figure out what these spheres are. Let's see if there's anything interesting in them.
Yeah. The I would assume you use your science labs to do some research on those spheres. There were 4 of them, and 3 of them were completely empty. There was nothing in them at all. The 4th one, as you cracked it open in your controlled environment, it was actually full of a substance that looked very similar to the black goo that you guys recovered from the vases, from the ampules. Um, Further research indicates that it's inert. It will not do anything in and of itself. It and the best description that you can come up with it is provided by Dr. Katori Khan, that it has not been programmed to do whatever it is it's supposed to do next. This was one of the things you were looking for, the Holy Grail of genetic engineering, if you guys can figure out the next step. The rifle is a I would imagine you're loath to experiment with it too much on board ship, considering what you've seen it do. The determinations you have come to is that it is self-recharging somehow, and and you're really not sure how it works. You would need to be someplace where you can fire it off and study it and work with it. But it's doesn't seem to have an on-off switch. Doesn't seem to have anything resembling a safety. It just has one simple trigger, and it all seems to be one piece. It doesn't seem to come apart in any way, shape, or form. So, I would imagine, Jake, probably you're not in a big hurry to do a lot of playing with that on board ship. Maybe I'm wrong. You do what you want.
Jake will leave it till they're on the outback planet, and then while we're waiting for Verhoeven and recovering, get some of the Marines to test it out.
Yeah. Oh, and the hands. Fortunately, you still have Andy on board ship because he's a
Yes.
geneticist also. With the two of you, um, this engineer DNA is it's over 99% human, which just continues to add to the narrative that you've been starting to put together as to where human life on Earth has come from, and possibly the Arcturans. And after what you saw down in the caves, even you're wondering about the Yautja, which begs the question that Dwayne put forward before: is where did the engineers come from? But there's some more to be done there, to be sure. Um, well,
Yeah. So, as I'll say again, my apologies to, let's see, an SSI guy who's dead because of me, and Rose got broken, and Jake got broken because I could have attempted to push one round earlier than I did. I could have attempted to push the xenomorph away and then shoot him, and used a story point if I had to succeed, and then shoot him, and that would have kept the acid from getting on everybody.
you want me to make it even worse?
Yeah.
You're responsible for Hick's death too, because he took
Oh.
4 points of acid damage. If that
Oh,
hadn't
that's right.
happened, the tail attack wouldn't have broken him, and he wouldn't have died.
Man.
Here, let me just load
Thanks
some
for that.
guns on. Yeah, no problem.
Enjoy that. Just a little extra for you.
Let's put some maggots on your shit sandwich.
That's right. As a GM, the one I feel bad about is vaporizing Rudy.
Oh, yeah.
It was
A little random.
it was such a, well, that's in the end. In the end, with RPGs, especially with these long form types of storytelling, it seems like the dice tend to want to tell their own story sometimes, and the greater karmic universe didn't want you guys escaping with an engineer ship and all that technology, whatever all that technology was.
Well, I look at it. I look at it. I look at it a little differently, and that is when you have a long campaign like this, and the dice have been in your favor so often, it's got to equalize out, and unfortunately, it has a tendency to happen all at once.
Yeah. Now, the way that it was originally written, because I'll be honest, I don't know where the campaign goes from here, because where you guys have literally completed the whole campaign, as you probably got a sense of, and I'll have to figure that out to some extent, because I think we probably do want to come back to this or these characters at some point, but the way it was originally written, I didn't know which direction you guys were going to go. If you went further into the cave system, you find the core of the hive, and there's a queen, and there's a half dozen drones, and there's a bunch of eggs, and there's some chest bursters that show up out of the Marines. Price is actually okay. Well, he's not now. You guys nuked him, but
Load him up.
Price is actually okay. So if you guys can save Price, that's an advantage. But the engineer is there, hanging out with the queen,
Oh, jeez.
and so you guys have all that in front of you, and then Silent Pike, our hero Yautja, decloaks behind you. So it all becomes a question of what happens next. And when things start going real bad, the trump card is that Dutch shows up. Verhoeven.
Oh.
Dutch shows up in full armor, and he's carrying an assault rifle that is based off of Yautja plasma technology. And he shows up to save the day one last time before he dies.
Except that we left him on another planet.
Except you guys gave him no option. You left him somewhere else. And I was like, shit, there's my save a PC trump card gone. How am I going to work this out? I should have had Ripley show up a round earlier to save Hicks, but I didn't do it. Oh well. What do you guys think?
Yeah, it was good. I mean, it's aliens, it's deadly, so to be expected to lose a few.
Yeah.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. It was good.
It's and I guess outcomes like this are often occur in this game. It's unsatisfying that we ended up doing everything and losing so many people to end up with so little in return. But on the other hand, who knew Rudy was going to have a bad roll of the dice to be the target?
Yeah.
And the other thing was he rolled so many successes, and then I don't think she rolled like 2 successes on her armor, but he had 4 successes.
Yeah.
He had 3 successes.
He had 3?
And one of them got through and vaporized it.
Yeah, the weapon does 3 damage, and the 2 bonus successes make it do 5. So she would have needed 5 successes on the armor dice. Which is not impossible, but pretty close. 1/6 to the 5th power. You know.
And Rudy was our only prayer of lifting the ship off and taking it, so.
But Rudy, Sharif, correct me if I'm wrong. Rudy's was going into this knowing that this could very well be her last mission.
I think so. She's felt that way for a while since she came down with that fatal glitch.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, what are you gonna do?
Yeah, it's unfortunate though that she didn't get the opportunity to go down heroically though. She just. But you know what? Let's be blunt. We've all seen the war movies with the heroic death, you know, but in the end, so often it just doesn't happen that way. People just die. So, but
Well, real deaths for sure.
You know.
That's definitely for sure. Sitting around. So what are we gonna do today? Done.
Yeah, that's about it.
Yeah, the problem I think is a little bit bigger. Is that it leaves us in a quandary for what to do next.
Well,
there's not really that many options anymore.
You know, and I would say you guys get back to UA space, and once you have network activity, I mean, the entire middle heavens is just in turmoil. There are colonies that are seceding from the UA. There's colonies seceding from 3WE, UPP, even the ICSC has colonies separating, doing their own thing. There's accusations that the New Britain colony, which was 3WE, and then separated and became its own thing, and started creating its own confederation. There's rumors that the administration of that colony actually got a hold of an alien egg and sent it to another colony that was owned by UPP and was oil rich, specifically to wipe out all the humans there. I mean, it's this thing goes deeper and is so the entire middle heavens is in a complete turmoil, and everybody's now at the same time. There's also elements within the individual governments that weren't involved in any of this. There's plenty of people that weren't involved in any of this, and some of them don't believe that it's all happening, and others. Others are patriotic and feel like that their government's on the right side of it. Surely it's those UPP bastards doing all this, not the UA, you know? I mean, so it's a complete and total shitstorm you guys have created. Congratulations.
Yeah, except that it's really too bad because what we really needed was everyone to pull together. We needed all the governments to pull together to fight a common enemy.
Well, there's some of that going on.
Yeah,
There is a new commission that has been formed by a general from the UA, an admiral from the UPP, and a general from the 3WE, and they have created a unit called the Rough Riders, which receives funding from all three governments under the command of a former Marine colonel named Zula Hendricks. And they have been specifically commissioned with hunting down the Black Bombers, which you guys actually think you've already done.
well, we found one.
Well, it's true. But hunting down the Black Goo Bombers, as well as eliminating the xenomorph scourge from occupied space. They have the ability and the clearance to occupy in everybody's space except the ICSC. So there's some of that going on as well. It's part of the problem is the elements of the various governments that are on the right side of this are trying to figure out who the bad actors are
Right.
within their own government, much less the bad actors in other governments. And there's a lot of paranoia and a lot of secrecy abounding. So it's going to be a long time before any of this gets sorted out. But everyone in the galaxy's aware of it now, whether they believe it or not. I'm sure to some it's just a crazy conspiracy theory and all has a good explanation. But it's definitely out there. So you're successful from that standpoint. Where this goes next for our crew of the SS Magellan, what's left of it, I'm really not sure. I'll have to think about that. I really don't know what Alien is going to be for us moving on. There's plenty of other content out there. There's a bunch of adventures that are available that were in some of the recently released Aliens novels that are one-shots, and I could certainly run those. And there's Heart of Darkness, which I've only read through once. So there's other stuff we can do, to be sure. And we got Blade Runner. I really would like to play Blade Runner next week.
Sounds good.
Sounds good. Yeah, this sounds like a good place to, if not retire this campaign, put it on hiatus until you've got enough material to run this again.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if these characters would fit in Heart of Darkness.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that sounds good to me.
You guys have a few minutes to switch over to Blade Runner?
Yep.
All right, let's do
I do.
that real quick, and I'll just show you guys around a little bit.
We need to launch that session then?
Yeah. Here, let me do that. Give me 1 second. I was wondering about that, how that worked. You guys can't go into the game unless I launch the session, can you?
With Roll20 we can.
Oh, can you really? Okay.
Yeah, it's only Foundry that you can't.
All right, so I just launched it. I'm going to close this and move over to that one.
Yeah. You there?
All right. Mic test?
I can hear you.
Okay.
I got you too.
All right, good. So you guys should see a big map of central LA.
We do.
All right. So, your characters are all Blade Runners in the what's called the Rep Detect unit, which stands for Replicant Detect, as you probably guess. The LAPD tower is right there. If you see me pinging the map,
Yeah.
LAPD tower is the headquarters for LAPD and the Replicant Detect unit. It has a wide range of resources at your disposal. It has the LAPD mainframe. It has something called the Esper Wall, which the Esper Wall is connected to cameras all over the city. Doesn't mean you can always find what you're looking for, but it's available. It has the crime lab as well as the medical examiner's office. And then last but not least, it has interrogation rooms. The reason all this matters is because if you're interrogating a suspect, you would make a manipulation roll. If you're out on the street, it's just a manipulation roll. If you're in that suspect's home base on his turf, you might get something called disadvantage on the roll. If you do it on your turf in an interrogation room, you would get an advantage on the roll. Okay, kind of like D&D with the advantage and disadvantage system. It just gives you a better chance or worse chance to get things done. All of you on your character sheet have a piece of equipment called a KIA. And I haven't decided whether I prefer KIA unit or Kia unit, because I've listened to a couple playthroughs where one, they called it a Kia unit. The problem is I'm in the car business, so you say Kia to me and I think of a Korean car. But
That's funny.
the Kia unit is connected to the mainframe, and it's like this all-in-one iPad radio mini computer thing, which oh, I didn't realize we lost Bob. I wonder what happened to Bob. Oh, all right, well, hopefully he makes it back. But the Kia unit is this all-in-one device. There he comes. You okay,
wait.
Bob? Oh, there you
Yeah,
go.
well, it just froze up on me. I just had to reload.
No problem. The Kia unit's this all-in-one device that connects to the mainframe. So if you guys find evidence, you can take pictures of it and upload it to your Kia unit so that other players in the group have that evidence. They can see it and they can talk about it. Okay? Because in this game, you are going to split the party. It's going to be a detective story, and you're going to split the party. I'm just telling you up front. So the Kia units allow you to stay in contact with each other. They allow you to share evidence with each other. They also allow you to get on the LAPD mainframe. You will have an easier time searching the mainframe for things you want at the tower, but the Kia unit at least lets you do it from the field. In each of your apartments, you have a mini Esper system, which is that huge video wall at LAPD, which allows you to do different things. It's easier to do it at the LAPD tower. But neither here nor there. The game is broken down into shifts predominantly, and then rounds. A round is just like Alien. It's like 10 seconds, mostly used in combat. A shift is just like Alien. It's 6 hours. There's 4 shifts in a day. Here's the thing. Your characters can only operate for 3 shifts in a row before they have to take a shift of downtime. Now, a shift of downtime doesn't necessarily mean going back to your apartment and sleeping. It can mean a number of different things. As the book puts it, going back to your apartment and sleeping, going out blowing off some steam, or trying to get laid, I think is what it says. But neither here nor there. If you don't take your shift of downtime, you gain a point of stress, which will have an effect later on. The roll system is pretty easy to grasp once you've done it. And for instance, if you open up any of your character sheets, I'm looking at the Fenna character sheet, for example. I don't recall who has Fenna. Who has Fenna?
That'd be me.
Oh, that's you. Okay, very good. So if you open up any of your character sheets, if you look at where are your, what is going on here? Something's not, where are all your stats? I don't see any of your stats. Shift log. Oh, there we go. Okay. There's 3 tabs at the top. One says Blade Runner, one says Shift log, one says Vehicle. Okay. So if you hit Blade Runner, it shows all your stats. Okay. And so Fenna just made a mobility roll. And that big 2 right there means she had 2 successes. Okay. Because it rolls the dice, and anything that's a 6 or higher is a success. Anything that is a 10 or higher is 2 successes on any individual die. Well, she rolled mobility, which Fenna's mobility is a B, which means she rolls a D10, and it's based on her agility, which is an A, so she rolls a D12. So when she rolls mobility, she rolls a D10 and a 12. And there she just rolled firearms, and she got 2 successes because she rolled 2 6s. I want to get a really strong roll here. I'm going to roll mobility for her again. There we go. There on mobility, she rolled a 10 on one die, which gives 2 successes. She rolled a 3 on the other die, which gets no successes. Now, you can push a roll just like Alien. And pushing a roll, you just say, I want to push the roll. You click the push button. Okay. And it shows you the push matrix. You can push any die that isn't a 1 on the first roll. Okay? So on that mobility roll, she rolled a 10 and a 3. You wouldn't want to push the 10, right? Because the 10 had 2 successes. You would just want to push the 3. So you would just click the D12 to re-roll that 3. So the new roll, it holds the 10 on the original. And then the original roll, which was a 3, now becomes an 8. She has 3 successes on mobility. If you look towards the top of the character sheet, there's advantage and disadvantage. Do you guys see those? It says advantage, normal, disadvantage. Your silence terrifies me.
Where am I looking?
If you look on the character sheet,
Yeah.
Oh,
advantage, disadvantage, tabs.
Yeah, those tabs that say advantage, normal, and disadvantage.
Very top.
Yep.
Top left.
If I were to tell you you have advantage on, I don't know, let's just say Fenna, you're making a manipulation roll because you're interrogating a suspect and you're in the LAPD tower in the interrogation rooms. I would say you would get advantage and then click your manipulation. And what advantage does is whatever the lowest die you have on the roll is, it gives you another one of those dice. Disadvantage takes away the lowest die. So if Fenna were interrogating a mini crime lord in his own home turf, she'd roll manipulation with disadvantage, and it will take away whatever her lower die in manipulation is. She still had a success. Good for her. So, does that all make sense?
Yep.
Okay. I mean, it's shockingly easy once you actually start playing it. So the game does have we do track shifts in that if you decide to, if you're at the LAPD tower in Sector 5, which is right there, it's a big map, and you go to Sector 2, I don't know, to investigate something that happens in Lincoln Park, your character's shift will be consumed with doing that and whatever else he does in Lincoln Park, or she does in Lincoln Park. And generally speaking, you'll be allowed to go to one place and do one investigation per shift. There might be some instances where that's not the case. If you're already up in Sector 1 and you were talking to the snake pit and then you want to go over to one of these other places in Sector 1, that might not take a whole nother shift. It just kind of depends on what happens. But we'll figure that out as we go.
Okay,
Obviously, that'll be a GM call. Go ahead.
so are all Blade Runners human?
No. So this
Okay.
game takes place in 2037, which is 18 years after the first movie and 12 before the second. In the last year is when replicants, specifically Nexus 9 models made by the Wallace Corporation, have been approved for usage on Earth. They're registered. They do not hide the fact that they're Nexus 9s, at least they're not supposed to. And they're used in a number of capacities. There are Nexus 9s on the police force, and in fact, 2 of the 4 characters are replicants. And this is common knowledge. The Fenna character, which is Bob's character, is a replicant, and Percival is also a replicant. Who has Percival?
I do.
You do. So you have the other replicant. The other 2 players are human. And it's, like I said, it's common knowledge that they're replicants. And there will be, as the game goes on and as you guys investigate, there's going to be a lot of handouts. And there's an element to this game that I really like, that makes it great for pre-made scenarios, but makes it not so good for making your own scenarios, unfortunately. But there will be handouts that I show you, and you will actually look at the handout and say, like, it'll be a picture of a room, and you'll say, I want to go see what this is. Like, there's actual clues in the picture.
Oh, okay.
So unlike an Alien where you say, well, is there anything of note in the room, and I go make an observation roll, you're actually going to be handed handouts that you choose to act on. Yeah. Kind of like some of the old computer games like Myst, where you've got a scene and you point and click on different things. So, very cool for pre-generated adventures, a little harder for stuff you make on your own. But, other questions? I mean, that was the quick run over. There's obviously a lot more, and there's going to be things that come up.
Well, I'm sure when we play, we're going to start off simple, right?
Yeah. I'm sure.
Do some stuff that, like a tutorial, like the Conan run through we did. Let you start learning the mechanics, and
it's a pretty easy starter adventure in terms of that stuff. One thing about Blade Runner, because I've already seen this in some of the playthroughs, and I've actually started this with my kids, because I've got 4 kids and there's 4 characters. Worked out pretty perfectly. Which, by the way, my oldest 2 thought this was fantastic, and my 14-year-old, he really is kind of digging it. But there's not a lot of unnecessary rolling in this game. Okay, your characters are all equipped with certain amounts of knowledge. Like on your character sheet, you all have a detective special spinner. Those are the flying cars from Blade Runner. That's what they call them in Blade Runners. They call them spinners. And the detective special is exactly what it sounds like. It's a special model issued to detectives, and it's kind of this blacked out version. But neither here nor there. If you just get in your spinner and go flying off to Sector 1, you don't have to make a roll for that. Your character knows how to drive a spinner. You know, it's pretty straightforward. The only reason you might have to make a piloting roll is if you're involved in some sort of high-speed chase or something like that. You don't have to. If I show you a picture of a scene and you see something of interest that you think might be of interest, you don't know, and you say, I want to go look at this and see what I think it is, you don't have to make a roll for that. Your characters are all detectives on some level. Some of you are better at certain things than others, obviously, and you guys should have those talks also, so you know who's good at what for when you do have to split the party. But we'll do that in kind of an introduction period when we play. What else? Anything else you guys see offhand that you have a quick question about?
Not from my side, I think.
No,
Yes.
nothing here
Starting
yet.
to play the game, yeah.
There will be a million questions in the future, but nothing
Yeah.
yet.
Oh, I'm sure. The good news is we all have pretty equal knowledge of the universe itself. You know, what you've seen in the movies are kind of what things are. Um, the rule book does have some history. It fills in because obviously, you know, there's 30 years in universe time between the movies, and the rule book fills in that history, which is helpful, but it's not really necessary. The biggest thing is the knowledge that Nexus 9 replicants are on Earth and are allowed to be on Earth as long as they're registered and they do what they're supposed to do. Um, the reason why the rep detect unit still exists is for replicants that try to go off the grid, which includes the last generation Nexus 8s. It's believed there's a lot of Nexus 8 replicants operating illegally on Earth, and if they're operating illegally, that's a problem. That's where you guys come in. So, other than that, a lot of it's very similar to Alien. The initiative and the combat system. When you push rolls, you don't automatically gain stress when you push a roll like you do in Alien. You only gain stress if you push a roll and get a 1 on the roll.
Huh.
However, you may not take stress. You might take damage. If it's a physical roll, something agility or strength related, and you get a 1 on the push, then you take a point of damage. If it is if it's a mental type roll, then you take stress, except replicants. Replicants don't take damage on physical rolls. They only take stress. And then here's another thing that's a little different from Alien. In Alien, if you take breaking damage, you receive a critical hit. You can be criticaled in this game without being broken.
Hmm.
So if someone shoots you with a 44 Magnum and gets extra successes on their ranged combat roll, it automatically causes a crit, and then you roll a critical die for that weapon, which I think the 44 Magnum is the biggest critical die. You could only take 3 damage against your 4, 5, 6, 7 health, but get your brains blown out. It can happen. The flip side of the coin is an unarmed attack, just punching somebody, is the lowest critical die possible, which is a D6. So the odds of fatally hurting someone with a punch are very, very, very minimal. It all depends on the weapon. So,
Okay.
anyway, we'll figure it out as we go. But I'm really looking forward to playing this. I think you guys will have a lot of fun with it. You know, if you enjoyed if you enjoyed Immaculate, which we played so many months ago, then I think you'll enjoy this. It's a lot of fun. It's neat. So,
Alrighty.
all right.
Also, looking forward to next week.
I'm sorry. What was that, Bob?
Looking forward to next week for the Blade Runner game.
Yeah, me too.
Same.
Me too. I don't know if it's going to be a 1-session game or not. We'll see. I'm thinking it's a 2. Just based on the way it's laid out, I think it's a 2.
Well, and it's going to take us some time to learn stuff, so there'll be a lot of splaining to
Yeah,
do.
there will be a little learning curve, to be sure.
What are your thoughts about Conan in the future, ever?
Yeah, I really want to do Conan. I really do want to do Conan. Maybe we can do some Conan after we play through this, because I did write a follow-up adventure that takes place with the characters you guys already have, and there's a guy who's actually reached out to me that said he wouldn't mind joining our group. He found me on YouTube and he's been commenting. So he's interested in Conan also. So that's a definite possibility. I also spent an exorbitant amount of money and bought the physical hard copies of all the books since Modifius will not be making them anymore, unfortunately. But there's 2 full campaigns in those books as well. So I'm going to spend some time reading through those. So there's plenty of stuff, but I do have an adventure pre-made and ready to go. I've even got it on Roll20 already, because I ran my kids through it and I used Roll20 for the graphics and the battle maps, stuff like that. And I think that'll be fun. So yeah, let's come back next week for Blade Runner, and then we'll see how long it takes us to play Blade Runner. We'll go from there.
Cool.
Yeah,
Roger
sounds
that.
good.
Thank you.
Cool. Awesome, guys. I don't see any reason for anything to change. Next week, same ugly place, same ugly time.
Gotcha.
See you then.
Excellent.
All right, guys.
See you guys later.
Later.
Ciao.
Bye.